Edmonton Sports Talk. My God, I loved it. My name's Jay Milne. #Blue. Our sports update deliverer. The Coon.
I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up today.
You know what, Reid? You might be honest. All right, here's what's going on in the Nasty Show.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Canada Day tomorrow. We're going to have some fun Canada-related, patriotic-related content as we move along throughout the course of the show. Of course, the breaking Oilers news in the past half hour or so. You heard Hernan and Gager talking about it. Now, again, this is not official from the Edmonton Oilers. They are not commenting on anything or saying that anybody's going to be available to comment or anything like that. But now widely reported that Evan Bouchard's new contract with the Oilers, 4 years, $10.5 million per season. I am also seeing, is this his real account? You got to be careful. Darren Dreger. It's looking like Marner will indeed go to Vegas. Hernan he's just put it up in the last couple minutes, Hernan and everybody. Marner signed to an 8-year deal with the Leafs and then traded to Vegas. And then he says about a minute later he can be moved to Vegas. So that's significant there. Vegas is in the Oilers division, you know. And of course, Aaron Ekblad has signed with Florida. So those are some of the headlines from this afternoon. So we'll keep an eye on some of the details with Marner here. I'll keep an eye on X, and we'll see what's going on. We'll obviously have a lot of discussion today about the Evan Bouchard deal. I know that certainly I've been a talk show host ever since Evan Bouchard came into the league. I was at the draft when he was picked. Here's the thing. Whatever you think about Bouchard's contract, you're going to think. I'm not going to try to change your mind, but as I often say, and I was talking about this last week with no move clauses, there are realities. And one of the realities in hockey is that players who can produce points tend to get more money than players who don't produce as many points. Even if in some circumstances, the players who don't get as many points might actually be all-around better players. Offense gets you money. Offense gets you big contracts. And quite frankly, I don't even know how you could counter that. I mean, I always respect other people's opinions and perspectives, but I don't know what you could look at in the NHL and say, that's an exception. I mean, yes, there are very good defensive players who get paid quite a bit. Goaltending is its own thing, but generally, if you get points, you get money. And Evan Bouchard gets points. He had 67 this past season. He had 23 in the playoffs. I mean, he is over a point a game in the last 3 playoffs. So he's been very productive on those regards. And I know what everybody's going to say, but Reid, he turns the puck over. Yeah, no crap, everybody. I watch the games. Quite frankly, I never miss a game. I know Evan Bouchard turns the puck over. My bigger complaint about Evan Bouchard is just how sometimes he doesn't appear to be overly engaged, especially in the regular season. That upright stance, that not getting his body in the way, that going for a sweep check and skating out of the way and not getting in the player's way. Yes, that actually frustrates me more than the turnovers, because I think players who have the puck a lot sometimes will turn it over, and he does make a lot of really good, really creative plays with the puck. He's been better in the playoffs, basically, the last 3 years, I think, especially the last couple. But I don't know how you can argue that players who get a lot of points get paid. I mean, Jeff Skinner's a great example. He's gotten some big contracts. He hadn't been in the playoffs until this year with the Oilers, and then he wasn't a regular. because that's generally not his style of play. So Bouchard gets the contract. Of course, you can talk about it. Of course, let me know how you feel, what you think. It is 4 years. It's not the max. There's no movement in it because you can't get a no movement at his age. You can't get any no movement, no trade protection until you're into your unrestricted free agent years, which Evan Bouchard is not. So that's the deal there for Bouchard. 4 years, $10.5 million. He is a very, very good player in terms of being a very good offensive defenseman. The Oilers' power play the last 5 or 6 years has had one of the best stretches in the history of the National Hockey League. Now, yes, Tyson Barrie was the point man for the beginning of those years. It's been Bouchard recently, and he's been very good. So he is good at that. He's a good puck mover. We know he is not an overly physical player. We know that, and again, my complaint is that sometimes his intensity or just overall awareness isn't as high as I would like it to be. But he gets points. And when he's playing well, he gets the puck up his stick on his stick and moves it up the ice. So that's my look at that. 4 years, $10.5 million per season for Evan Bouchard. Again, not officially announced by the Edmonton Oilers. I don't know if they're going to officially announce it during the course of this program, but widely reported now by a lot of different people. Hey, how are you doing, everybody? My name's Reid, by the way, in case you didn't know that. Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne. Jason Milne is off this week. He will return 1 week from today. Also with the Edmonton Oilers, 2 other signings today. Philp Kapanen, a 1-year deal, $1.3 million. He played 57 games, had 13 points for the Oilers, had 6 points in 12 playoff games, including a big overtime winner against Vegas. Noah Philp also signed, and Noah Philp is scheduled to join us at the bottom of the hour, so in about 22 or 23 minutes. He gets a 1-year contract for $775,000. He had 2 assists in 15 NHL games, 35 points, 19 of them goals in 55 American Hockey League games. So maybe a player who could eventually, or maybe soon, he'll need to become a contributor on the Oilers' fourth line. So that's what's happening with the Oilers today. Of course, a lot of speculation. What's going to happen with Arvidsson, with Connor Brown, with Corey Perry? I mean, Arvidsson likely to be traded. Connor Brown going to market. Corey Perry perhaps not going to be back. He might want a little bit more than what the Oilers are going to pay him. If you go to puckpedia.com, I mean, they're going to have to move somebody out. Obviously, the current cap space for the Oilers is $550,000. So that's not even a player. It's not even a player you could get on the league minimum. All right. So there we go with that. 780-218-9999 is how you can text me. Cooper, are you keeping an eye on the text box?
I will be,
and
yes.
I sent you a new lineup with Philp on it because I was just confirmed at around 2:45 that he was going to do the show. We're going to get him on the phone. 780-218-9999 is how you text the afternoon inbox. That's presented by the River Crib Resort and Casino, home of Tap 25 Restaurant, where the entire menu is 50% off 7 days a week from 2 to 5 p.m. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. And you can also post in the Nasty Chat. That is the chat that is off and running on YouTube. Chat with me. Chat, more importantly, with each other. I usually can't keep up with all the messages there. And if you are taking us in on YouTube, do not hesitate to give us a thumbs up. Let's see how high we can go today. We try to get to at least 155, so we get to a double word of the day at the end of the show. Anything early coming in on Bouch? Or you want to get those a little bit later, Coop? JT asking, what did the Leafs get for Marner? I have not seen an announcement in that. The trade apparently is not official. What's that? Oh, nothing yet? Okay, I thought Hernan had something. All right, so we'll keep an eye on that as well. This is fun stuff going on in the course of the show. And again, I know it's widely reported, the Bouchard stuff. The Oilers have not made anything official. People are already asking, when's he going to talk? What's he going to say when the Oilers are saying... This is how it happens, everybody. Usually when something breaks, there are some, we all know the insiders, Friedman, Johnston, some of those guys, Drager, they usually get something because they have a contact with the GM or an agent or somebody in the league office, and they get the heads up, this is happening, okay? But there is paperwork that has to be done and contracts that have to be filed with the league office, and all the legal stuff needs to be done. So in this situation, when in this case Oilers PR gets asked, is there going to be an availability with Bouchard and or with Bowman? They say There's nothing. We have nothing. We have not made an announcement. So what would there be an availability about? So that's how that dance goes. And then eventually they put something out and they say these guys are going to be available. So just to let you know, if you're waiting to hear from anybody involved in the Bouchard deal, we don't know if we'll get that today. Like I said, we will have Noah Philp at the bottom of the hour. I see on our Twitter account, YEG Sports Talk, who put up this poll? Was this you, Coop?
That was me, yes.
The Coop doing a poll. Do you think Evan Bouchard's contract is a fair deal? Yes, fair for both sides. No, too much money. C, 8 years, same amount. Or other, let us know. Yeah, 4-year deal. I mean, he's 25, so locked up until he's 29. Then he'll be an unrestricted free agent. So you had a couple of those years out of the way. And like I said, a very, very good offensive player. A very, very good offensive player who I certainly wish was a little more well-rounded, does play a more well-rounded game in the playoffs, but definitely has some skills that are unique, I think, and important to the team. James says the Oilers' power play has been 25% less effective than 2 years ago. Well, that's true. It wasn't as good this past season. I mean, wasn't it up over 30% a couple of years ago? I got to check the Oilers' power play now.
Well, it was historic for 2 seasons in a row, right?
Well, it had a 4-year run where it was as good as any power play ever.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So when it goes down for a season, after having so many years, 4 years of it being so historic, people might take a look at it and think it's a negative thing, but I don't think there's really anything there, right?
Well, I think you want to have it as high as possible. So let me get this here. So the Oilers' 22-23 power play was the best all-time, 32.4%. 19-20, so 2019-20, that was the season that got cut short in March by COVID. 29.5%. That was back when Dave Tippett was still coaching. That's the 5th best power play of all time. The 82-83 Oilers were 7th, so different era. 2020, 2021, 56-game season just against Canadian teams, 27.6%. 23-24, last year, 26.3%. And 21-22, they were 26%. So that's the run. This year's, yes, was a little lower. I just got to bring them up. I would still think they have a really good power play. I mean, James, I don't know if this is what you're suggesting, but if you're suggesting to me that, you know, Bouchard is overpaid because this year's power play dipped, I don't really know if I buy that. They were down to 23.7% this season. So, you know, I mean, to me, if you're over 25, you're talking about an elite power play. Power play percentages have gone up in the NHL over the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, if I remember Jack Michaels and I looked this up, I think might have been the year before the lockout. There were only like 2 or 3 power plays, even over 20%. And now you're getting teams into the mid to high 20s. So, yes, this year the Oilers' power play was not as elite as other seasons. They still have a good power play. All right, Marchand staying in Florida. Is that something else that's happening, Coop? Some people are probably seeing this before me.
Yeah, Elliot Friedman is reporting on Twitter.
6-year extension.
6-year extension, $32 million.
$32 million. Wow, what a deal for Marchand. Okay, well, so that I did not think he'd be getting a 6-year deal from the Florida Panthers. Now, you know, good players can be pretty good into their late 30s or even 40s, but man, oh man, that is a surprisingly long extension for Brad Marchand. Well, good for him. A lot to discuss today. This is fun. It is Canada Day tomorrow, so we will have a little bit different programming here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, presented by Play Alberta. What we're going to do is we're going to have a free agent special at 10 a.m. Wanek's going to be here. I'm going to be here. We'll go for 2 or 3 hours. We'll see what's going on around the league. We'll see what's going on with the Oilers and all that type of fun stuff. So with it being Canada Day tomorrow, I wanted to have something Canada-themed for the off-topic topic, which is presented by William Huff. Since 1952, William Huff has provided industry-leading advertising solutions for thousands of valued clients. Their unparalleled customer service, combined with decades of industry expertise and a desire to make every job the very best it can be, is what they call the William Huff Advantage. Visit their website at williamhuff.com or give them a shout, 780-454-4536. So here's what I want to know about our great country. What is the best place or part of the country you have ever visited? And what is one part of Canada you haven't been to that you want to go to? So what is your favorite part of the country to have visited? And what is a place in Canada you have not been to that you would like to go to? Now, and it can be anything. It can, I mean, I guess kind of narrow it down a little bit. Like, don't just say the West. You know, pick an area. It doesn't. It can be a city. It can be a park. It can be a small town. It can be some remote spot that we're going to have to look up, and then give us some place in Canada that you would like to go. Sound good?
Well, it's a huge country. We live in the second biggest country.
It's almost too big, I would argue.
It is,
but that's an argument for another day.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know. One that sticks out for me, I haven't really traveled too often, but in Sioux Lookout, Ontario, I think in more the western part of Ontario, it's a little like camping lodge that my family is a part of, and I went out there. It's absolutely beautiful. The lakes, the trees, all things like that. You could always say the mountains and stuff like that, but I've never been so far out east into the Maritimes. So anywhere in the Maritimes would be one that I have on my bucket list, I guess you would say.
All right, we'll have some fun with this stuff. Already, Justin saying favorite place I've been to, Penticton. Haven't yet been to Newfoundland. YEG Sparky, favorite place to go to, Whistler, BC. So, yeah, give us your favorite place in Canada that you visited and a place that you would like to go to which you have not been. All right. So I'm also going to do in the next segment, we're going to have Jay's Play of the Day for Play Alberta. I'm still going to get to that. Also for Canada Day, another Canada Day related topic is I have put together my pick, my selections for Canada's all-time hockey roster. All-time Canada's hockey roster. And I didn't just list, here's the 20 greatest Canadian hockey players of all time. I'm going to give you forward lines. I'm going to give you D pairings. I'm going to give you 3 goalies. And I'm going to give you a couple extra forwards and an extra defenseman as well. So if you want to participate in this, you can do it as well, but those are the rules. You got to give me your 4 line combinations, your 3 D pairings, and your goaltender, your starting goaltender, your backup, plus an extra guy at each position. I posted this on my Twitter account already, by the way. If you want to reply to it, at Reid Wilkins is how you can follow me, at ReidWilkins. I have a few guys who played for the Oilers on the team. I've already received some negative feedback about where I placed one of them, what line a certain guy is on. He might be on the Oilers right now, but we'll have some fun with that as we move along through the course of the show. Elliot Friedman also saying Provorov sounds like he's going to re-sign in Columbus, so we'll do our best to keep up with all of this as well. But the story today from an Edmonton perspective, Evan Bouchard gets a 4-year contract worth $10.5 million. Again, has not been confirmed by the team, though it is being widely reported. Earlier today, Noah Philp gets a 1-year contract. He's going to join us in about 10 minutes, and Kasperi Kapanen gets a 1-year contract as well. All right, here's the Coob with the sports update.
Multiple sources have reported that Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth $10.5 million per season. Cam Robinson from Elite Prospects First reporting. Staying in Edmonton, Noah Philp and Kasperi Kapanen have signed a 1-year contract. Philp signing a 2-way deal at league minimum, with Kapanen getting over $1 million next season. And down south, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman is reporting that 37-year-old Brad Marchand and the Panthers are closing in on a 6-year deal worth $32 million total, while Aaron Ekblad has agreed to an 8-year deal worth just over $6 million per season with the Panthers. And Elliot Friedman also saying that Ivan Provorov will be re-signing in Columbus, and according to David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period, Andrei Kuzmenko to re-sign in LA worth just over $4 million for next year. Out east, MLB action has 8 games. Toronto and New York open up a 4-game series. Max Scherzer gets the ball for the Jays. Carlos Rodon takes the mound for the Yankees. First pitch goes at 5:07. More Bouchard discussion and news around the NHL brings us back on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
2 guys and a
One
goalie.
that stood out for me as well is, I'll just say, this pisses me off. Establishment of a full-time emergency backup goalie, or EBUG, position within organizations. And the reason it ticks me off is because I love the story. I love the story of the Golden Bear player coming up with the green and gold pads on and the green and gold helmet sitting on the
2
bench.
guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Friday's just got a whole lot more fun. Spin the wheel at the Banquet for your shot to win big and save on your bill. Spin, win, save. It's that easy. Details at thebanquetbar.com. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
GCL Diesel has been serving oil country since 1972. From diesel cars to SUVs to pickups. From farm tractors to school buses to a big rig. From diesel generators to forklifts, GCL can test, troubleshoot, and repair all diesel fuel system components. Whether it's injectors, pumps, turbos, filters, or additive, GCL has the parts you need to keep your diesel running the way it should. For genuine diesel parts at wholesale prices, visit GCL Diesel in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel. Diesel understood.
Summer in Edmonton means 3 things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of the Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
Here's to the beautiful lakes and stunning landscapes Canada has to offer. And for the kayak, camping gear, and summer toys you used to enjoy them? Need extra space? Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca. Happy Canada Day.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us this afternoon. Noah Philp from your Edmonton Oilers, new contract for him. He will join us at the bottom of the hour, so that's in about 6 or 7 minutes. Of course, news breaking within the last hour. Evan Bouchard getting a new deal with the Edmonton Oilers, 4 years, $10.5 million. Kasperi Kapanen getting a 1-year deal as well. Sounds like Mitch Marner has been signed by the Leafs for 8 years and then traded to the Golden Knights. Now, none of this official yet, but that's been reported. And, the LA Kings, putting this out a few minutes ago, they have signed forward Andrei Kuzmenko to a 1-year contract extension worth $4.3 million. So Kuzmenko joined the Kings during the season and was pretty good for them. So a lot to talk about. 780-218-9999 is how you can text us on the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox. We also have an off-topic topic of the favorite place you've ever visited in Canada and the one place you haven't been that you would like to go to. Koob, what do we have coming in on the texts?
We have Collingwood Rob saying that I've traveled to nearly every country. His favorite place is still in Banff, but he has not been to Newfoundland, and he will be going next year. We also got another one. Favorite place, Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories, wanting to go to Quebec and the Maritimes. That coming in from Smith TM14.
Okay. Anything on any reaction to Bouch? We're getting a lot in the nasty chat.
Grumpy Cat saying that it's a win being under $11 million. That one coming in from Grumpy Cat. And we also have one saying that Haji to put Bouchard on Leon's wing.
Put who?
to put Bouchard on
Put
Leon
Bouchard on
Draisaitl's
Leon's wing.
I mean, hey,
He's not the
highly
first
offensive.
person to ask me that about turning Bouchard into a forward.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. I will say this. It remains a big problem who the Oilers are going to have play with Leon Draisaitl. Quite frankly, I think that's a bigger problem than Bouchard's contract. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm a freak.
No,
we're gonna look. We'll do the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel a little bit later on, and I'm just not sure. I mean, if you look at how the team is composed, quite frankly, I think the Oilers are still missing. Now, again, I'm assuming some players maybe won't be back. Yeah, I guess it depends. They're missing at least 2 top 9 forwards, maybe 3, depending on what happens. But it could depend on some trades and some other signings tomorrow. But that's concerning to me as well. Just saying.
Well, where it is right now, if, of course, the Oilers, they have a lot of time until next season, but it looks like Matt Savoy would be putting that lineup right now.
Well, I think he's going to get a chance. I think that, we're going to have Noah Philp on in a couple minutes. I think he'll get a chance. We'll see how he's feeling. So, a lot to discuss and a lot to talk about today. Plenty of Oilers discussion. We will have some other Canada-related topics. I want to touch on that soccer match yesterday. We're going to have a special guest on that. We're also going to have a really special guest in a few minutes, coming up around 3:40, 3:45, because it is I think it's a time to celebrate being Canadian. And maybe if you don't want to celebrate it, that's also fine. But there are people who have lived elsewhere in the world and have come to Canada and made it their home and made a living here and contribute to the sporting community here. And we're going to have somebody who did exactly that coming up, like I said, at about 3:40, 3:45, which I think an interview you're really going to appreciate. Jay Milne is not here, but we still have Jay's Play of the Day presented by Play Alberta. Gaming made easy anytime, anywhere. With Play Alberta, you've got a full casino experience right at your fingertips. Play from your phone, tablet, or computer whenever works for you. Download the Play Alberta app today and get started with a $50 casino bonus. All you have to do is deposit $20 with the promo code EST Casino. Play smart, play local, and remember to use your game sense. I'll also tell you this. It's the last day of June. So if you haven't yet used these promo codes, use them today. And then there's going to be new promo codes coming out for July. So that's pretty cool. So the casino bonus, if you haven't already used it, you put in $20, you put in EST Casino as the promo code, and you get a $50 bonus. I guess you could put in more than 20, but you have to put in at least 20 to get the bonus. So Jay's Play of the Day, going to do this quickly here. It is a baseball one. It's the Jays money line against the Yankees. That's 2.35 to 1. I do the odds that way. I know a lot of people do the plus and the minus. I don't understand them as well that way. It's so Jay's Play of the Day is sorry, that money line is 2.35, but Jay's Play of the Day 3.15 to 1. It's the Jays money line against the Yankees and for Kirk to have a hit. Okay? So we got to have the Jays getting the victory and for Kirk to have a hit against the Yankees. I believe the Jays are the underdog in this game, but it's baseball. It's pretty close. So that is Jay's Play of the Day. What you want to do to find these is you go to playalberta.ca, or if you're on the Play Alberta app, you click on sports, and then you click on EST specials, and then you find them. There's an early bird bet. There's Dusty's Play of the Day, Lock Shop Partner Parlay, the Grand Est, the Grand EST Parlay, and of course Jay's Play of the Day. Oh, he's not here. I better still do the jingle though.
It's Jay, it's Play, he's Jay, it's today. It's Jay's Play of the Day. It's Jay's Play of the Day. Jay's Play of the Day.
All right. We got him? Okay. Perfect. We'll get right to it here. One of the Oilers to get a new deal today. It is Noah Philp checking in. Noah Philp, Reid Wilkins here. Of course, you were on my previous show several times over the years. I think the first time you've been on me with this station. First of all, congratulations on the new deal. How are you feeling?
Good, Reid. Excited and get back to him.
Okay. Coop's just going to reconnect just very quickly here. So, okay, Coop will just reconnect. Sometimes we get that We get a little bit of that Darth Vader voice. Evan Bouchard, of course, that deal not officially announced yet by the Edmonton Oilers, but we're keeping an eye on that. Brad Marchand, 6-year deal to stay with Florida. Tom helping me out in the nasty chat as well. Provorov, $8.5 million to stay with Columbus. So that's pretty significant. And Mitch Marner, again, I haven't seen the return yet, but reports that he has done a sign and trade, signing with the Maple Leafs for 8 years, and then getting traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. That's an interesting one. I mean, clearly it makes Vegas better. Now, they're going to be without Pietrangelo likely for the entire year, but up front, I think a big reason why the Oilers beat Vegas in the second round was that Vegas didn't have the scoring. Now, Marner's, to me, more of a setup man than a scorer, but I still think that helps them overall. The Oilers have gotten out of the division, 3 of the last 4 years, so they're kind of the team to beat there. And you've had, how many years in a row? Edmonton went to the Cup final. Edmonton went to the Cup final. Vegas went. Colorado went before that. So the Pacific Division champ has gone to the Cup final 3 of the last 4 years. So anyway, just something to consider there. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube as well. We're just going to reconnect here with Noah Philp. He gets a new one-year contract. Philp Kapanen also announced this morning by the Oilers getting a 1-year deal worth $1.3 million. I'm already starting to feel like there's not going to be a lot of news tomorrow, but I guess we'll find out. We're going to try again. Noah, sorry about that. We just had a little bit of garbling here on our end. I'll ask you the same question I did before. New contract for you. How are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling great, Reid. Thanks for having me back on the show, and yeah, just super pumped to get back to Edmonton.
All right. What were these last few months like for you? I know you were around the team. Obviously, it was a deep playoff run. It's intense. A lot of guys are playing beat up. What was it like being out of that environment, and what do you sort of take out of seeing the guys go through the playoffs like that?
You see how hard it is, I mean, what a run. Congrats to them. Unfortunately, not winning it out, but, what an effort. And you just see how much it takes to win the Cup. And it was just really fun for me to be a part of that atmosphere. We were up there skating for a while and getting around the guys. So really enjoyed the whole process.
Yeah. Well, I know I saw you up there watching the games a few times. When you're, I guess the black ace is the term that's used. Are you around the guys that are playing every night full time, or do you try to, not inject yourself into what they're doing because it's what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of respect their space a little bit. We had our own little area, and we're training because we're on a different schedule too. Like we're training and trying to stay in shape, where those guys I think are trying to be ready for each game. So it's a bit of a different environment, but you see them in passing and in the meal rooms and stuff like that. So still got to see lots of guys and chat with them, which is great.
You got your first NHL point this year. I think it might have been on your second shift. It was pretty early. If you don't mind flashing back to that for me in the audience today, and I know there was a great shot of your family in the crowd as well. What do you remember about that play in Nashville?
Yeah, that was an amazing moment. I don't know. I just remember the puck squirting to me behind the net and then looking out to see if anyone was available. And Kajula was there. He was called up with me, and he was there. I just got it to him, and Scory Perry finished it off.
Who had a pretty big year himself, which was pretty nice to see. What did you learn most from those from the games you got into the NHL this year? I mean, I thought for the most part you looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah, thanks. I felt more and more comfortable. I mean, I think that's pretty natural, but I learned how clean the game is, and how mistake free it is, and the more you can do that and try to chip in offensively, but be responsible at the same time. So I think just trying to clean up and be as mistake free as possible was something that I really took from those experiences.
Okay. Look, I know you're not the GM, and we're going to see a lot of things happen probably over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're already seeing that. But I mean, look, I think there's an opportunity here for you. Did the Oilers explicitly talk to you about that, or is it just kind of assumed? If you don't mind, kind of sharing, what they share with you about your future with the franchise.
Yeah, they're honest, and they just say that it's up to you. If I come in and I'm a step behind, I'm going to be a step behind, and I won't make it. But if obviously that's not my goal, and if I come in and I'm prepared and I'm ready, I'm hoping to make a good impact. And they said it's up to you if you make the team, basically. So I would agree with that.
Yeah. I'll throw you a really specific one here. You're a right shot, and you obviously you can play center. Can you tell people how difficult is it to win a face-off in the National Hockey League? How many little tricks and cheats are there?
Yeah, there's a lot. It's hard, and I struggled a little bit when I first in my first stint. And the refs are strict too, so it's you're more locked into a position. I felt like in the American Hockey League, you could cheat it and kind of just bull your way in there, but in the NHL, it's a bit more of a chess match, and lots of those guys have been doing it forever. So, yeah, it's tough.
All right, and just what's ahead for you? You're already back. I assume you've been training. I don't know if you're skating again yet, but what's the off-season plan here?
Been skating and training back in my hometown, Canmore, Alberta, and then I'm getting out to Australia for a month, actually, in early July. Going to meet my wife's family and see all of her people, which will be amazing. And then coming back to Edmonton well before the season.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll have time to chat about the trip. There are rinks there. Hopefully you find some places to skate.
No, there are, and we've been in touch with some contacts, and yeah, we got lots of ice coming. So I'm bringing my gear all the way over. It'll be fun.
Well, you know what? From doing this show, and then obviously, my previous job where I was on after the games, there are a lot of Oilers fans in Australia, like a lot. So I think you're probably going to meet some people with some Oilers gear, and we'll be able to tell you your stats and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
Yeah, that'll be a fun experience. It'll be fun to meet some people from the other side of the world who are supporting the Oilers.
Okay, Noah, thanks for doing this. I know it's a busy day for you, but glad to hear you have the new deal. Thanks for taking time to join the Reid Wilkins Show. Enjoy Australia, and we'll see you soon.
All right, thanks, Reid. Appreciate you having me on.
Right on. That's Noah Philp checking in. So good deal for him, and he was pretty blunt about it. He said the Oilers were pretty straightforward with him. It's up to you. If you come in and you're a step behind, you're not going to be in the NHL, but you come in and you look good and you fit in. Definitely an opportunity for Noah Philp. And I didn't know that he was going to Australia for a month. And he's already got some ice and training considerations lined up there. So that's pretty cool for him. Okay, so that's Noah Philp. Philp Kapanen getting a new contract from the Oilers today as well. And the not yet confirmed by the Oilers deal, but obviously confirmed by a lot of NHL insiders, is that Evan Bouchard has signed with the Oilers 4 years, $10.5 million. So that's taken care of. We're going to look at the roster. I already got a text here from LZ saying, Reid, I 110% agree with you about Draisaitl's not having any wingers more concerning than the Bouchard contract. I do feel that way. And I always feel I got to clarify these things because there's a lot of you chatting. There's a lot of you in our nasty chat. There's a lot of you texting. And how you feel is how you feel. And I just want to tell you, if I don't acknowledge what you're saying or say that I 100% agree with it, I'm not trying to belittle it. Because, yes, I see the things, well, Nurse and Bouchard make whatever, $20 million combined. And, maybe you'd like a little bit more out of both those guys. I agree with that. I'm not ignoring that, but I also think there are some other angles that need to be looked at with this roster. And maybe for me, there are more concerns at forward. than there are at other areas. Just for me, but I'll explain that when we get into the Oil Understood a little bit later on. All right, we got a very special guest who's going to talk about life in Canada. Even though he wasn't born here, it is Canada Day tomorrow. That's coming up next on The Reid Wilkins Show.
A busy day around the NHL, according to multiple sources, including Cam Robinson from Elite Prospects. 25-year-old Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth $10.5 million per season. The Oilers also re-signed Philp and Kapanen to 1-year contracts. Kapanen gets just over $1 million this season, Philp being paid league minimum on a 2-way deal. In Toronto, TSN's Chris Johnston has reported that Mitch Marner is off to Vegas in a trade and sign deal, agreeing to an 8-year contract with a cap hit of $12 million. Elsewhere, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman had multiple reports saying that Ivan Provorov will re-sign in Columbus on a 7-year deal worth an average salary of $8.5 million for the Panthers. They've reportedly agreed to re-sign 37-year-old Brad Marchand for $32 million over 6 years. And Aaron Ekblad also agreed to an 8-year deal to stay in Florida worth over $6 million a season. The Jays are also in action against the Yankees in their series opener. Toronto naming Max Scherzer the starting pitcher with first pitch at 5:07. This sports update is brought to you by Paramount Flooring, proudly serving Edmonton and area for over 30 years. Their West End showroom is open 7 days a week. You can also shop online at ParamountFlooring.ca. The Reid Wilkins Show continues on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you up to date.
The Oil Stream.
Jake from Ontario says, could the Kapanen signing be a panic move because Brown is probably gone, trying to keep speed with Brown out the door and a right-hand shot? Yeah, but I just think Kapanen would be available July 2nd or 3rd still.
Yes, I would think so. He was waived.
Yes.
Nobody wanted him except Edmonton.
The Oil Stream, presented by Boston Pizza. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Gallo LLP is an Alberta-based accounting firm with expert chartered professional accountants in both our Edmonton and Sherwood Park accounting firms. Our experienced and innovative accountants provide financial advice that saves our clients money. Simply put, we help our clients protect their assets and grow their businesses. At Gallo LLP, they go beyond the numbers to ensure the continued success of your business. Reach out to Preet or John to discuss how they can help your business grow. Visit gallollp.ca today and see how they can help you take your business to the next level.
Do you have pets? Horses? Chickens? Did the place you used to get your feed recently close down? Have no fear. Clover Bar Feeds is here. Whether it's dogs, cats, horses, or chickens, Clover Bar Feeds has you covered. Offering a large variety of food and feed, you can trust the experts at Clover Bar Feeds. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. This means you can expect nothing less than top-notch service and selection. Come visit them at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or visit them online at cloverbarfeeds.com.
Everyone knows when you need a truck now, you call Dawn.
That's right. You call us, Frontier Cartage, when you need driver coverage or have a truck that's down.
You call Dawn from Frontier Cartage.
When you've got way more freight to move than you thought.
You call Dawn from Frontier Cartage.
When you need a truck that's available and ready to start anytime you need.
You call Dawn at Frontier Cartage, 587-222-5826. 587-222-5826.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know. Okay, so I'll just do a quick recap here before we get to a very special guest. There are a lot of signings in the NHL today. Some names popping up would be guys lower down the roster or even minor league type players. But here are the headlines, and one of them is right here in Edmonton. The Oilers, multiple reports saying that they have signed Evan Bouchard, defenseman, to a 4-year deal worth $10.5 million per season. That has not yet been announced by the team. But if it becomes official during this, pretty sure the reports are right, but if the Oilers put it out during the show, you'll know about it. Earlier today, Kapanen with the Oilers, 1 year, $1.3 million. Noah Philp, who we just had on the show, 1 year, $775,000. The Panthers lock up Brad Marchand, and yes, he will be 43 when the deal ends. 6 years, $5.33 million per year. Aaron Ekblad, 8 years, $6.1 per season. Provorov's deal in Columbus, 7 years, $8.5 million per year. And it sounds like Mitch Marner is being traded to Vegas. I have not seen the return or the contract. So those are the headlines there. My goodness. A lot to talk about, and I'm really pleased to have this next gentleman on the show, moving away from hockey for just a little bit, but more of kind of a Canada story with Canada Day coming up tomorrow. Of course, you've seen him in CFL broadcast booths and coaches' booths and sidelines for several years. Paul LaPolice is checking in today. Paul, my name's Reid. Nice to meet you. Of course, I work with Dustin Nielsen here at Edmonton Sports Talk, who you know well. Thanks for making time for the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, yeah. Been a long couple days doing some football, but today's just kind of a nice day to relax.
Well, I appreciate you taking time out of that to join me. Of course, you and I hadn't talked before, but Dusty helped us connect with it. And thanks through sitting through all the hockey signings. But with your time at TSN, you've had living in Canada.
I understand. Yes.
Hey, I was hoping we can get your story a little bit because a lot of people know you, but I don't know if they really know you. Your life before we got to know you in the Canadian Football League. Where did you grow up, and what got you into football maybe early in your life?
Yeah, so I'm from Nashua, New Hampshire, a town just on the border of Massachusetts. I played high school and then college football at a college in New Hampshire. I started coaching right out of college. I got a teacher's degree, but I wanted to try coaching at college in Maine, college in Connecticut, and then the University of New Hampshire for a couple of years. And then I was fortunate enough to go to RPI, a very good hockey school in upstate New York. Joey Juneau, Adam Oates both went there, the old timers. Then after that, I was fortunate enough to get a job with the Toronto Argonauts. The first person I ever worked for got the job of the Argonauts, and he got fired after 8 games. But at the end of the season, Pinball Clemens had taken over, and at the end of the year, they kind of fired everybody in football, but Pinball retained me. So I thank him every time I see him. And that's how the journey. I was young at the time, 30 years old when I went to the CFL, and that's been 25 years ago. So I've been there ever since. So it's and I think people forget I'm an American because I've been up here so many years. And but no, it's been a great experience. I enjoy the league so much and the people of it.
So given New Hampshire, because I know from covering the Esks and Elks for many years, I'll talk to guys from like Louisiana and they're like no idea. Like it came to Edmonton, didn't know, like literally thought there was going to be snow on the ground in May and June. Did you have a little more awareness of Canada and the CFL because of where you grew up?
I did. I kind of knew it really. The funny thing is everybody would know was Rocket Ishmael, Doug Flutie, as a New Englander and a football fan. That's how I understood what was happening with, with Canada and the Canadian Football League.
Okay. So when you moved to Canada, did you think I'm going to be here a long time? Or I don't know, like the life as a coach, maybe. Maybe you're never thinking too far ahead. What do you remember about coming here initially?
For me, initially, you never know. Like you end up taking a job, and hold on, somebody's bouncing at the door. Give me a second. Sorry.
Okay, we got Paul Police. got a live interruption there. Wanted to have Paul on the show. An American Canada Day tomorrow who certainly has adopted Canada as homeland and loves the Canadian Football League, and we're getting his story. And I think he's taken care of. I told Amazon don't deliver during my interviews.
I know, man. All right, so basically, you always try in coaching to take it one game at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 year at a time. So, being fortunate enough to have a second year when everybody else kind of got fired. And then I was fortunate enough to get the coordinator job in Winnipeg in 2002, I think. And then I just kind of carved out a career. And the one thing I am kind of proud of, like, I'm not anybody who is a relative of a player. I didn't play in the league. I didn't have family members. So I feel like everything I've done in the league, I've earned. And it's been a great experience. The TSN experience was great the first time I did it. And then, having the opportunity at an older age, I'm 55 now, that I've got kids in high school. So people sometimes say, hey, do you want to coach again? Absolutely, I do. And, I'd love to do that. But that's hard sometimes when you have a family that's in high school. And I've never really had to move my family, or I've never had to work away from family, where a lot of coaches in Canadian Football League, they don't want to uproot their family. So they want them to have normalcy, but the parents, so the mother stays or the kids stay and the coach goes to the next city. And I try, if I can stay out of that business, I'm going to try to stay out of that business.
Yeah. Paul LaPolice joining us on the Reid Wilkins Show. So this might be kind of a silly question. Do you feel Canadian, or do you feel like an American living in Canada?
I guess I don't know. That's a weird question. I still feel I'm an American. But I do enjoy a lot of things about Canada. I guess I'm probably a cheerleader for Canada, when I talk to people in the US, because, people, when I came up to the league, I thought I had to speak French, even though I was going to Ontario. People in the U.S. do not understand what, people say, what do you eat up there? Do you guys have Burger King up there and stuff? They have no idea what Canada's like. So I feel like I'm a champion of communicating the great things of Canada to all my friends and relatives in the United States.
Well, I know Chuba Hubbard brought his teammates ketchup chips, because apparently they don't have those in the States. So that was his contribution. I got to go down another road with you here. And I also heard you talking about this last night. And I hope you can fill everybody in, because we still got I got a couple comments today. Did LaPolice coach some Canadian national team or something? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to ask him about it. What can you tell us about the flag football, that team, that whole experience?
Okay. So for this year was the first year that Own the Podium, Football Canada, have decided that, they were hiring a head men's and women's national flag coach. And they wanted that to be the kickoff of setting their own roster and having your own roster of players and basically going across the country. Normally, if you would have gone to a world championship, or if you were played in function, it would have been a provincial team that won a championship, like the best provincial team in the country. That whole team went to go travel. Where now we had ID camps across the country starting in January. In May, we picked who we felt was the 16 best players in the country on the men's side, and I think the women's have 24. And we took 12 down to the U.S. for a tournament 2 weeks ago. So it's big investment. Why? Because the Olympics are coming. The flag football is an Olympic event this year, so we are starting that process of trying to qualify to all those things. I became part of it because Kevin McDonald, the head of Football Canada, asked if I would be interested in interviewing or helping interview the candidates for the job. And then a couple of days later, I said, this could be a cool experience. I said, I'm coaching my son 7-on-7. How do I get involved? And he says, well, why don't you apply? And the more I got around it, the more I felt I think I could help in a lot of ways in the fact that I've coached professionals, and eventually it sounds like professionals will be part of this process, and just building a team and understanding. I had a lot of learning to do on the 5-on-5 game, but I do have a background in offensive football. So I kind of threw my hat in the ring, and it's been a great experience. I'm really excited about it.
Okay, so who did? Well, I guess I can say we, since it was Canada.
Yes.
I know we're not supposed to use we all the time, but who did Canada beat?
And I like how you say that, Reid, because I've been talking to our people. I only introduce us as the Team Canada men's flag team, because that's truly what we are. Like, I know sometimes we're called the senior men's national team. I don't know what that means. Like, we're Team Canada. We're the guys that are going to play to represent Canada. So we went to what's called a friendly. The friendly was in LA. There is a bunch of teams playing from all age groups across countries, Mexico, Panama. There's so many different groups, countries, Australia, Germany. But from the men's national side and the women's, there's 4 teams. We had Australia, Japan, us, and the United States. Israel was part of that, but then they had to, at the last minute, obviously for difficult reasons, had to drop out. So that's what the crew was. We played 4 games, and we opened with the U.S., which was scaring me a little bit. But I was kind of not sure. I was kind of terrified. I didn't know how I would do, how we would do. But we got a good staff. We got good players, and we're fortunate enough to beat the United States in our first game and then finished 4-0 for the tournament.
Right. And you had a special message for Mr. McAfee last night.
Well, I think, as a friend of mine told me, well, Americans expect to win and everything. And I appreciate that. But I think they can understand that we've got a pretty talented roster, for one. I thought our quarterback looked better than any quarterback we saw out of those 4 teams. Michael O'Connor, who's got 4 years in the Canadian Football League. I don't know if Pat McAfee knew that. I have so much to learn about the game. I'm the first to admit that, from situational football stuff, that there's so many different rules with flag. But I do know how to, I think, build an offense and put players in position to get open and be successful. I think we did that. So there's just, I think there's a little ignorance on who we were. And we played well, right? The U.S. got some penalties, and we got behind them, and they dropped coverage. And, when that happens, you lose if you got 2 close teams.
Right on. Well, thanks for doing this. And again, thanks for taking some time out of day when you're getting a little R&R and visitors. But no, I just appreciate your perspective, because I think you're a great story, and we love Canada, and we love when people come to Canada and make Canada their home and a place where they work, like you and your family have done as well. What do you have on the tube this weekend?
So this is a big week because the panel flies out to Calgary. So on Wednesday, I'll be flying to Calgary. The panel's in sight on Thursday, and then Friday, I'm on the panel Friday, Saturday, Sunday, take a week off from doing color, and then I'll be back to I've been doing 1 game of color a week, which I really enjoy. It's good to be able to talk 3 hours of football on the air.
Well, we enjoy watching as well. Paul, thanks so much for doing this. Happy Canada Day tomorrow, and I'll continue success with the flag team as well.
Thank you, Reid. Appreciate it.
There's Paul LaPolice checking in, longtime CFL head coach, assistant coach, broadcaster. Great story there about the flag football team. So it was on McAfee's show. He was, I don't know if you saw this, Goob. He was irate that McAfee was irate that the States lost to Canada at a football game. And as Paul kind of outlined there, not really sure that he understood how good Canada was or who was on the team. So that's why I wanted to ask him that. That's a great Canadian story. We'll have some other Canada talk as we move along throughout the show with Canada Day tomorrow. And of course, we will dive deeper into what's going on with the Edmonton Oilers. The Bouchard contract is 4 years, $10.5 million. Again, not yet confirmed by the team. We'll take a look at some things going on with the forward group as well, because I think there are some issues there too. I am coming to you flying solo this week with no Jason Milne from the Banquet Studio. Craving a late night snack? Check out the Banquet's new late night happy hour menu, Sunday to Thursday, 9 p.m. until close. Enjoy favorites like sweet and spicy lettuce wraps or the Banquet Burger at happy hour prices. The Banquet. Get real, play hard. Okay, here's the 4 o'clock break.
The Lock Shop.
Which makes Nikolai Ehlers the number 1 guy. I mean, we just keep hearing Carolina over and over again. Like, I don't know about the fit. He's good enough that wherever he goes, he's going to make an impact. He'll help on the power play. He'll score. I just do wonder about what Carolina's trying to do to their team, knowing that what they have to do is beat Florida. I'm not sure how much Ehlers changes the way that they look going up against a team like that.
The Lock Shop, weekday mornings at 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
If you aren't wearing a Connect belt, what are you waiting for? A one-size-fits-all belt with a smooth, hole-free track system makes it adjustable for the perfect fit. With fully customizable options, you can choose your belt color, material, and buckle to suit your style. 100% Canadian-owned and operated, Connect belts are designed for work, everyday wear, and even a round of golf. Check out the large selection of men's and women's styles at www.knktbelts.com. Connect belts, the perfect fit every time.
River Cree Resort and Casino on K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreeresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. to close, head to The Banquet and dive into banquet burgers, sushi tacos, nachos, and more. Late night bites, big flavors, and epic deals. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
You've heard the name, but what does it mean? For over 66 years, William Huff Advertising has supplied signage from screen printing to digital to LED with design, production, and install in-house. It's a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. Edmonton owned and operated, William Huff has been trusted by the biggest companies and teams in the City of Champions and many others across the country to do the job. If you're looking for a way to get the word out about your company or event, they are the answer. Go to www.williamhuff.com. Their results speak for themselves.
Multiple reports have Evan Bouchard agreeing to a 4-year extension with the Oilers worth $10.5 million per season. Staying in Edmonton, Noel, Philp, and Kapanen have signed 1-year contracts. Philp at league minimum on a 2-way deal, while Kapanen gets over $1 million per for next season. And according to TSN's Chris Johnson and Darren Dreger, Mitch Marner is off to Vegas in a sign-and-trade deal to sign a max-length contract, $96 million. With the Golden Knights. More details on that one to come. Other reports are saying that Brad Marchand and Aaron Ekblad are set to re-sign in Florida. Marchand for 6 years at $32 million total, while Ekblad gets 8 years at just over $6 million a season. And Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman has said that Columbus will extend Ivan Provorov on a 7-year contract, $8.5 million average salary. For the Jays, they meet the Yankees just after 5 o'clock. Max Scherzer gets the ball for Toronto. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The second hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
You click. Click. Thumb. Must you click. Thumb. Click, click.
Oh my goodness, is that the Thumb Click remix?
It is.
I neglected to play the actual song today.
Click, click, click. Must you click?
We got one over
please,
top
please
of the other.
Click.
Wow.
Must you click?
It's like
you must.
It's like being in a time warp.
Thumb.
Reid Wilkins in the Chamber of Echoes.
Now I know how Scott Bakula felt in Quantum Leap. I'm sure that's exactly how he felt.
Yeah.
Like I felt listening to those two songs at the same time. That's exactly how I felt.
Double tasking.
Oh my goodness. What a day. Hope you're having a great day, everybody. June 30th. Is this not the halfway point of the year? I think this is the halfway point of the year. Is June? Well, it should be. In months, it is. Halfway point of 2025. Oh, July 2nd. Scratch that from the record, everybody. July 2nd is the 183rd day of the year, and then 182 days remain until the end of the year.
How long until puck drop on the next NHL season?
I have no idea. I haven't seen the schedule.
No. Yeah, I
Sorry,
guess
buddy.
so. I guess so, yeah.
It would probably be, 108 days?
Yeah,
maybe?
something like
maybe
that.
Maybe a little longer than that.
And preseason and stuff too, yeah.
Oh, preseason's in September, buddy. There will be preseason hockey in September. It'll be July tomorrow. So you really only have two full calendar months without NHL hockey if you count playoffs and preseason, right?
Yep. Yeah, I know. That makes sense,
July and August.
And then training
Now,
camps,
some teams, when the Oilers used to never make the playoffs, there wasn't Oilers hockey in May or June, and then there'd be preseason in September. So that's what we're looking at. 780-218-9999 is how you can text us. That is the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino. Home of the Kitchen Restaurant, all you can eat surf and turf for just $59.99 every Friday. That is from 4 until 10 p.m. All right, Coop, before we dive into the Oilers, but give me some texts that are coming in. Off topic, Bouchard, whatever you want.
Yeah, I'll start with the Oilers here. The rookie coming in a little upset, I guess you could say. Somebody explained to me why Florida would sign Marchand until he's 43. Well, I guess he's
upset about he's upset about a Florida signing.
I guess he's not. No, sorry, he's not upset about it, but he's confused.
I guess because I don't know. I realize that's probably a somewhat rhetorical question. All right, so let's play Boo Boo Kaka here. Okay? So you're Brad Marchand. And you're saying I want to make this much more money, maybe. He wants this much more in career earnings. And Florida says, well, we can't pay you that in one season. Like maybe, I don't know. Did Marchand go, I want to make $32 million more? I don't know what his career earnings are or whatever. I'm just totally spitballing off that question. Playing Boo Boo Kaka, as we now call it on this show. So he says, I want to make this much in my career. And Florida says, well, we can't give you all that in 1 year or two. Like, how do we spread this out? And that's how it gets spread out. Or maybe Florida is looking at players and saying, well, guys can play, good players can play. I mean, okay, here's the thing. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling. At the age of 37, was Brad Marchand not one of the best players in the Stanley Cup final? Forget the rest of the playoffs. Just in the Stanley Cup final, you could almost argue, well, not almost, I think you could argue he was the best player in the Stanley Cup final. Oilers included, all around. Like Draisaitl got big goals. You know, he and McDavid were over a point a game for sure. Obviously, Bennett was great. Reinhart, they have 4 goals in the last game. Bobrovsky was also good. But Marchand was one of the best players in the Stanley Cup final, and he got several votes for the Conn Smythe, which means he was one of the best players in the playoffs. So I guess Florida is looking at that and saying, well, he's not on crutches. He's not using a cane to get around the rink. He's not a fourth liner. He's not barely hanging on. He's 37. Okay, here's a hypothetical, everybody. Did the Florida Panthers win the Stanley Cup without Brad Marchand? And I know I'm asking a largely Oiler fan base here who were despondent about losing the final and who have spent the last 2 or 3 weeks telling me what a crappy organization the Oilers are and they don't have any good players and they're going to miss the playoffs next year and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Did the Florida Panthers beat the Edmonton Oilers or even have the opportunity to be in the final against the Edmonton Oilers without Brad Marchand? I think they're a pretty darn good team. I think they could have done quite well without him, but I think Florida fans are glad they're not asking that question. What would have we been like without Marchand?
There's a reason they went after him.
Right.
And they got him, and the team changed almost. He clicked immediately with the team, right?
Right. So why would you sign him for 6 years? Because he's obviously in good shape. He's obviously a good hockey player. He obviously wanted some security. So look, and what I've been saying for the last week and a half, the players have a lot of power when it comes to contracts in the NHL. I mean, Penner's Pancakes putting in the Nazi chat. Maybe he wanted 4 years times 8 to get to $32 million, so they stretched it out to 6 to bring the cap hit down, right? So again, it might be a little perplexing, but he just was a very big part of them winning the Stanley Cup. I mean, this wasn't that he only played half the games and played 7 minutes a night or just killed the occasional penalty. He was excellent. I mean, what did I say during the Cup final? And now I was doing it to criticize the Oilers' defense, but you have to give the player making the play credit as well. He looked like vintage Mario Lemieux with individual efforts on a couple of those goals and a couple of chances. I mean, this is one player. There's maybe a few, but this is one player I have not been shy about sharing my personal reaction to. I can't stand his antics. I cannot stand the cheapness the licking, the spraying of goalies with snow, the yapping over the years, the weird choke he did to an Ottawa guy this year. Like, it's weird. He's done stuff to me that is beyond dirty, because the Oilers have some guys who do dirty stuff. Perry's not clean. Kane wasn't. Leon isn't all the time. Fair enough. That I can accept slashing, face washing, fighting, cheap checks. Like I accept that as part of the game, and part of me even admires it, though, if it's not too dangerous. The stuff with Marchand, like, he does weird stuff, and that's why I've been critical of him. But Brad Marchand, the hockey player, I would say is literally one of the best all-around hockey players of the last, 30 years? In your lifetime, Coop?
That's definitely in my lifetime.
What are you, 22?
21, yes.
You're still 21.
He
Sorry,
almost played my entire
He
life.
almost has, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Why sign him for 6 years? And it part of me is pain to say this. He's an awesome player. What do you need him to like? What's my one go-to saying that people are probably getting sick of? Figure it out. He's to me the ultimate figure it out type of player. You need an end-to-end rush? Well, damn it, I'll try to do it. You need someone to dig in the corners? I'll do it. You need someone to kill a penalty and block a shot? I'll do it. You need someone to play setup man? I'll do it. You need someone to go crazy and maybe fight or antagonize? I'll do it. What's the personality of the game? Brad Marchand can take on that personality. All right. Sorry.
So I was going to say, I wonder if he would be commanding that same contract if he hit free agency and would get that same kind of deal if it wasn't in Florida. A lot of people...
Florida was like, we can't let this guy go. We can't let the Leafs or whoever sign this guy, even though he wasn't here for very long, and he comes back into our building and knocks us out of the playoffs next year.
I believe that was the mindset, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Riding the Pine says Marchand is a rat, and if Draisaitl doesn't get a winger, there will be a three-peat. Well, I agree Marchand is a rat. Let's not assume it's going to be Edmonton, Florida in the final again, first of all. I mean, that there's a lot of things have to happen. So I don't know if it only comes down to Marchand signed with Florida, the Oilers didn't get Draisaitl a winger, it's over. Probably Riding the Pine probably doesn't mean that. Some stranger says, are we treating this Florida team like it's unbeatable? Probably, and they aren't. I mean, any team is beatable. Other teams are going to get better. Like I said, it's so long between now and the playoffs, but Florida's looking very good for bringing their team back. When you're getting Ekblad back, I know how long until someone mentions steroids? How many seconds until someone mentions steroids in the nasty chat after you bring up Ekblad's name? It'll be within 17 seconds.
Yeah,
somebody's typing it right now. Yeah. Pretty good contract for a steroid user, Reid. Hashtag Ekblad. But still, he's good. He's good. Good deal for Florida. So anyway, why did they sign him for that long? He's a good player. He's a very good player. And at his age, he's not slowing down. And look, the Oilers had a guy like that, maybe a different dimension to some parts of his game. Like Corey Perry, had 19 goals in the regular season? Had 10 more in the playoffs. Some nights looked like he was the Oilers' best threat to score a goal. Maybe second best. I would still put Leon number one. Like Corey Perry kind of became a better threat to score than McDavid even as the playoffs went on. So look, guys are in good shape. And players have power if they're good players to get the contracts that they want. So anyway, just some thoughts on that. What else was I doing here, Coop? Everything's all moved around. I did not think I was going to spend that much time talking about Brad Marchand today. But what are you going to do?
I mean, he's a polarizing player. There's a lot to be discussed in that contract alone, in that player alone. But I think it's understood that he's a great player, and I think he's worth that amount too. But to be 43 at the end
some
of
this,
you know what I mean?
Too, if he doesn't play the last 2 years of the contract, the Panthers like, fine, retire. We'll find a reason to put you on LTIR. Right?
Mm-hmm. With cap going up and everything like that as well.
Who's the goalie Florida just got? Oh,
Just got?
Yes. They just got a different goalie.
They traded
I can't remember the guy. Somebody
from
help,
the Blue Jackets.
Somebody help out some stranger in the nasty chat. Aren't they without a backup goalie? They had Vanacek. What was the guy's name?
Daniel Tarasov from the Blue Jackets, a fifth rounder.
Thank you. So they do have a backup goalie.
Yep.
I'm not. I know there's some rumors I see in the nasty chat about Henrique and Arvidsson getting traded. I don't know if they're going to get traded today. Okay, the Oilers haven't even made the Bouchard signing official yet. It's the Oil Understood for GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years, and now a partner of Edmonton Sports Talk and the Reid Wilkins Show. GCL Diesel. Diesel. Understood. All right, we got us another guest coming up in about 5 minutes, but I'll bring this up now, and then I'll probably have to circle back to it later. I don't even know if we're going to get to my roster today, Coop. I did an all-time Canadian hockey roster. Those always get people fired up.
Well, I'd like to hear it. I kind of did.
Okay, for you. Well, you kind of did.
Only a little bit.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. Okay, look. I'm not going to tell you not to fret about the Bouchard contract. I'm not going to tell you not to fret about what Nurse makes. I'm not going to tell you not to fret about McDavid's extension. I'm not going to tell you not to fret about goaltending. I'm not going to tell you not to fret about the coaching staff. Could be a new coaching staff. I mean, Gullitson's probably going to be the coach in Dallas. All that kind of stuff. But I am going to give you something else to fret about. Let's look at the lines for this upcoming season. McDavid, not even the lines. Let's look at the forwards. McDavid, Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, Draisaitl, Frederick, Kapanen, Janmark, Philp, I'll put in there, Podkolzin, and Jones. That's not the best order, perhaps. So again, guys, Draisaitl doesn't have any wingers. Draisaitl doesn't have any wingers. I will repeat that. That's the worry for me. Okay? Fine if Nurse is overpaid. Not ideal. Fine if you don't like what Bouch is getting. Not ideal for you. Okay? If this team is trying to construct a top six with 2 or 3 forwards who belong in the bottom 6, then you're worried about how do you beat Florida? How do you beat Florida? Well, you don't beat them by putting together a second line with 2/3 of fourth liners. It just does not happen. Now, I don't know. There's all these rumors about Besser. I'll throw a name. You know what? I'll throw a name out there. If you want to talk about older players, let me put a name out here for you. And I saw Jim Matheson do this as well. But I was thinking about this guy last week. I didn't get too hot and heavy into it. Now, Steve Yzerman has said this player is going to stick around. Patrick Kane. Patrick Kane is 36. He's younger than Marchand. He's younger than Perry. He just had 59 points and 21 goals on Detroit. I mean, if you're trying to round out the roster and you're going to lose Perry, that'd be a guy to look at. Now, I don't know if he's going to ultimately be available when it comes down to it tomorrow, but this is, I get it. I get Bouchard's the headline today, and we're going to talk about Bouchard today. Why is he getting paid that much? Because he gets points, okay? Because he gets points. But you know who else didn't get a lot of points? Whoever was some forwards who were trying to play as well. So this is, somebody put in the nasty chat, Anthony Mantha. I talked about Mantha last week, but he would be a cheap option you're trying to take a flyer on. Right? I mean, that's not a sure thing. So anyway, just something to consider. And we'll talk about this more later in the show. Chris Johnston saying, well, maybe this was out over. Do we have this already, Coop? $12 million contract for Marner. And then he gets traded to Vegas, but we don't have the return yet.
Yeah, no details on Marner's
details
return.
on that. So we're keeping an eye on that, but that's another story here that's developing throughout the course of the day. We're talking Canadian pride, Canadian sports as well. We have another Canadian story coming up next. Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne on Edmonton Sports Talk.
Multiple sources have reported that Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year deal worth $10.5 million per season and staying in Edmonton. Noah Philp and Kapanen have re-upped on a 1-year deal. Kapanen getting $1 million next season. Philp coming in at league minimum. And according to TSN's Chris Johnson and Darren Dreger, the Golden Knights and Leafs are making a trade and sign deal to have Mitch Marner head to Vegas. Marner's reported contract is for 8 years at $12 million a season. Elsewhere, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman, among others, have reported that Aaron Ekblad and the Panthers have agreed to an 8-year extension. Average salary of it's over $6 million. Brad Marchand also apparently getting a 6-year deal in Florida for a total of $32 million. For the Blue Jackets, Ivan Provorov is reportedly staying in Columbus, set to sign a 7-year contract, $8.5 million a season. In baseball, there's 8 games. The Jays and Yankees go toe-to-toe just after 5. Max Scherzer gets the ball for the Jays. This sports update is brought to you by Clover Bar Feeds. Clover Bar Feeds has all the animal feed you'll need. Get top-notch service and selection from their family-owned business. Visit Clover Bar Feeds at 200 Portage Close in Sherwood Park or call them at 780-467-5014. We have a brief intermission before the show rolls on. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric.
Darren Dreger, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports.
I don't think that the Oilers would be fishing in a real deep pond anyway. I think that we can all look at the wants and maybe even the needs of the Edmonton Oilers, but there's nothing wrong with being patient in the process as well. And then you also go bargain shopping and you look at some of the mid-level forwards. I think that's more of the aisle that Stan Bowman and the Oilers will be shopping in.
The Nielsen Show with Lieutenant Eric, presented by South Ford Chevrolet. Weekday mornings 6 to 9, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Got some gently used furniture or home goods that need a new home? Find Edmonton is here to help. Every month we furnish over 100 homes to those transitioning out of homelessness, and we need your gently used furniture and home goods. Drop off at 5120 122nd Street or call for free local pickup. Just visit findedmonton.com to learn how your donations can help create a home for someone in need. Plus shop our thrift store, in-store or online, with proceeds benefit those moving out of homelessness through housing supports. Visit us at findedmonton.com. Find Edmonton, supporting our community one home at a time.
River Creek Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreekresort.com.
River Creek Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Since 1952, William Huff has been the heartbeat of Edmonton's advertising world. From humble beginnings to a citywide powerhouse, we've been the go-to for signage from print to design and installation. Partnering with Edmonton's top sports franchises and major events, we've helped shape the city's global reputation. Our secret? Unmatched customer service, decades of experience, and a passion for excellence we call the William Huff Advantage. Visit us online at williamhuff.com.
Hosting the Big Canada Day Bash? Make room for the celebration with Sentinel Storage. From decluttering the garage, storing your seasonal gear, and keeping your treasure safe, we've got the space so you can enjoy the day and every day. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
Oh man, like this. I wonder if other NHL cities are feeling like does the whole NHL revolve around the Oilers and the Panthers? 2 years in a row in the Cup final. Panthers sign Ekblad. Oilers say, okay, we'll sign Bouchard. Panthers say, okay, we'll sign Marchand. Other teams are saying, well, what about us? Vegas is like, we're getting Mitch Marner. As the rest of the hockey world is like, that's nice, Vegas. You don't win anymore. I don't think that's what they're saying.
They're the old toy of the NHL.
The Vegas
already.
Golden Knights are the old toy. The shine is off the Golden Knights. They're now like the Bronze Knights.
Yeah.
Didn't they have the golden helmets that one year? Those were not good. But the LA silver helmets, those were terrible.
Yeah, the chrome,
the tinfoil, the tinfoil hats. They were afraid of mind control. That's why they were wearing them. Thanks a lot for checking out the show this afternoon. Reid Wilkins flying solo. Jason Milne will return on Monday. If you have us on YouTube, give us a thumbs up there as well. You can jump into the Nasty Chat and speak with others as well. Talk about hockey, talk about the show, whatever you want. 780-218-9999 is the River Cree Resort and Casino inbox for texts. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. Of course, Edmonton Sports Talk is presented by Play Alberta. Why limit your choices when you can have it all? Play Alberta is your go-to app for casino games, sports betting, and lottery, all in one place with easy access to real money games. You can enjoy everything Alberta has to offer right at your fingertips. Download Play Alberta now and start playing today. Well, look, a lot of Oilers chat, a lot of NHL chat, and I should say tomorrow on EST, we will have live programming. It's going to be 10 a.m. We'll start with a free agent special. Matthew Iwanik's going to be here. I'll be here. Tom and Dusty will jump on. We'll see who else we get involved. TBD for how long we go with that, but that'll start at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So Canada Day. I wanted to talk Canadian stuff. We had Paul LaPolice on earlier. An American who came up, has made the CFL in Canada a big part of his life. And yesterday, Canada was in a big soccer match at the Gold Cup. Didn't go our way, but let's get some perspective on this. And no one better to talk about this than an Edmontonian. He's the president of Soccer is Everything. A long time. Sean, you got such a long resume. If I say long-time soccer coach and administrator, does that sort of do it justice?
Well, I'd be getting rash if you said administrator, Reid, because it's not my gig to read. The administrators are too smart for me.
That's the wrong part of it. Okay.
I'm basically a coach, but I've been blessed to be around the world with a bit with soccer, so it's great to talk about it all the time.
Okay, and of course, Edmonton is your home, though I know you're checking in from the East today where you're doing some work. Well, first of all, you're now the president of Soccer is Everything. What is that? Tell everybody about that.
Basically, it's a company I started many years ago, Reid, and it's just I do consulting for soccer. I work with coaches, work with players, do small group training, all types of things. And just as coaches sometimes just want some individual mentorship. I've been blessed. Like now I still work with the Canadian Soccer Association. I work as a coach developer for the A diploma, and I do work with Ontario Soccer, doing some C diploma assessments, Alberta Soccer C diploma, and then I still work in the professional game a little bit. Calgary asked me to be their Northern Director of Youth Development, so the CPL. So I'm blessed to have work with coaches, work with players, and work with clubs across the country still. So I just feel very blessed to have these opportunities to still be in the game and to do something you love.
So I want to get your perspective. This is like the biggest picture question I can ask before we get down to some of the details. Look, when I was a kid, I remember, so I was 12 in 86, I want to say, when Canada made the World Cup. Didn't score. Yeah. Long time before we got back, there were some teams that teased us. There were some teams where it's like, what are we now, 120th in the world or something like that? Now we're pretty darn good. Like I think we're ranked 30th. We're going to be one of the hosts for the World Cup. We've done well in some international competitions. What changed over the last, I don't know if 10 to 15 years is the fair timeline, but how did we finally go from this also-ran to a team that can stand in there with the big boys?
Well, I think you're right, Reid. It's a long time. It's not a light switch you turn on and off, and these things are going to happen. Anything back to the French when they ended up winning in '98, and they had their big change, with Wenger and Jacques Aimé, all Centre de Formation, and all they did, and it took many years, and then they changed their system of that. I mean, a huge change is the professional game. I remember many times years back when you were even talking, Reid, that players were coming to the national team, and it was FC unattached because so many players weren't even with teams. And now, like Jesse Marsh has a tough job. He's got lots of players playing in some great environments, and you have to really go through make selection process. But the big change is definitely the professional CPL being around. It's a very good league. It's getting better and better every year. It's great. The women's now have the Northern Super League going. I think that's a super step in the right direction as well. Along with that, then the coach education and the coach development. A big part of my motto has always been player development will never be maximized if you don't get coach development. And I really think a lot of great credit has to go to people much smarter than me about how they've created the coach education program and that. And I think, too, that there's a big commitment from clubs across the country, to commit to make it more professionalized, the coaching, to work with the volunteer coaches, and to hopefully that gets passed on to the players. So it's a many-faceted answer to that, Reid. There's just not one answer. But I think that I remember back Tony Waiters the day, because you mentioned the 86 World Cup team. that Tony would say, and then after that, it'd always be asking Tony. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but he said, every World Cup, why didn't we qualify, Tony? Why didn't he would always come back? Why would we? We don't have a professional league. He said we were probably the highest ranked team in the world, who didn't have a professional league. So he was always a big proponent of that. So having that professional league, and like in any sport, hockey, whatever, if you don't have the NHL, Canada hockey would be different. And it's the same thing in soccer. And I think now, the players and young players are seeing opportunities that they've never seen before. I remember going to World Cups, the under-17s, and some of the kids would really perform well. And then at the end of it, they'd say, Sean, where can I go? And there really wasn't many options, because to go break into Europe was always very difficult. It still is very difficult. But now the CPL being there, the youth sport and the leagues they have, there's just so many opportunities for young males and females. I think it's just a great time for football in Canada.
Yeah, well said. Sean Fleming joining us on the Reid Wilkins Show, president of Soccer is Everything. So Canada got eliminated at the Gold Cup. World Cup's next year. Is this, and I know we played the second half down a man because of the red card. Mm-hmm. Is this a major blow that we didn't go further this tournament? Does this not bode well for the World Cup? Or do we have to look at it more in isolation as opposed to relating it to anything that could happen down the road?
Yeah, I think it's, the natural reaction is a knee-jerk reaction. The world's going to end because now we didn't win the Gold Cup. I mean, I love the way Jesse Marsh carries himself. I love the way he talks about the team. I love the way he's promoting the game in Canada, and I love what he's doing. And, I think that you have to look at the quarterfinals. Everyone was like a one goal, besides Mexico beat Saudi Arabia 2-0, and that was a late own goal. But the rest are 3 penalty kick shootouts. So if they win the penalty kick shootout, we're probably not discussing, whoa, is Canada, we in trouble now? Is going on? Look, there's lots of good players. As I've said to you, Jesse has some real, headaches ahead of him in terms of the players he's going to select, because there's some good players that probably won't make the final World Cup squad. But, would you rather get to a semifinal and get into a final? Of course you would. You want to see the pressure. You want to see the diamonds. The best diamonds can put up with the most highest pressure. And that's where you want to see them on those pressure. We're playing a Gold Cup final and we end up winning that. It just says a lot. We think back to 2000. That was the last time we won the Gold Cup final. And those players, just tremendous credit to them. But they got on a roll and things went. But this is the international game. This is CONCACAF. It's just fine lines, and it's all the things you could talk about the officiating, to the environments you have to go in, to where you have to play. And but yes, it's disappointing we didn't go to the semifinal. And you think of just Guatemala, and I think sometimes I remember you saying, well, young players, the national team, we're only playing El Salvador today. We're going to play and say, listen, we're not only playing no one, we have to respect everyone, because you just can't look past players. And I know Jesse was saying that after Curacao, that players seem to be looking past, and we're no team, I think, honestly, in any sport, in my humble opinion, can you start looking past teams, and then that's where you're going to get really disappointed. I don't think they did. I think yesterday was just a bit of a tough day at the office for some, and again, we had opportunities to finish, and we have to get a little bit more clinical, a little bit more mature in our performances, but I think that will come.
All right, I want to share something with you. I'll share it with the audience because I shared it with you when we chatted briefly earlier today. My father is not a soccer fan. He's never connected with it. He wants Canada to do well. But we sat and watched the second half of the game yesterday together. And then we watched the penalty kicks. And my dad says to me, so let me get this straight. They invented a sport where for 90 minutes it's almost impossible to score. And then they break ties by having something where it's almost impossible to miss.
Yeah.
But yeah. It is a unique way to break a tie. I mean, what? And there's probably more that goes into it than, well, the goalie's going to guess and this guy's just going to kick it. And I think we saw. Did we not see an American player, or was it in the Canada? Because I watched there was one where the guy just shot it straight ahead and the goalie didn't move. The goalie decided his guess was to not guess. So, and I know some fans who don't like soccer as much will be like, well, it's just a random way to decide a game. I just kind of want you to give the counter to that, to the strategy and the tension and the drama of the penalty kick.
Well, I'll even go back a little bit, if I may, read just to the 90 minutes of football. It's like painting a masterpiece. And sometimes you get it all right, and eventually you do get a goal, but it usually takes a lot of effort, Like there's some breakdowns in that, but usually it takes a lot of effort for a team, several passes, something special at the end, and then there's a goal scored. Now, at the end, I mean, like again, yesterday there's no extra time. There will be if it's a Gold Cup final, but just went straight to penalties because usually there is 15 minutes of extra time. But the rules of the tournament were not this time. With penalties, it's now again the world that we're in. There's so much scouting, so there is still guesswork, guaranteed. But I'll guarantee you, both teams yesterday would have had everything about each person's penalty kick shooter, and they'd be communicating it with the keeper at the little break in between. And then I've seen also keepers will have a little thing to put in their sock or that. They'll know, okay, somebody's coming up. This is where they like to go, whatever the case may be. Then the other part of it is on the shooter. So the pressure really, to me, when I've coached, I've said to my goalie, I said, if you make anything for us, we're happy. It's a bonus. The pressure's on the shooter because they should score. But then to me, then the shooter it's not even so much a technique. It's a mental capacity to just stick to what you want to do and not get caught up in the pressure. Because it's not hard to shoot from 12 yards out into a goal that is 8 yards wide. And so it's not that hard. But when you got this pressure on and it's relying on, the country is following our team quite closely now, and you have the pressure of that, and you're going to, have to score. So I tell the shooters, just believe. For whatever you're going to do, believe in it and don't change your mind. The biggest mistake players make is try to change their mind. Now, some are at a level where as they're approaching, they're trying to read the goalie's movements because the goalie cannot leave the goal line until the ball is kicked. So they'll try and move. But the goalies now are getting smarter too. And I don't normally say that about keepers. They're usually not that smart, Reid. But that'll be all my goalkeeper friends will be happy with me. But but really, they are starting to like fake one way, go the other way. But I still believe it. If you place the ball with the right pace, at the right height, and you just believe in what you're doing, you will score. And I think that's, I feel for, Kyle yesterday. I think he was approaching it, and I think he felt the goal was going to go the other way because he just, placed it really softly to the one side. And the young lad, Luke, I'm not trying to say his last name because I get it wrong, but to nail it off the crossbar, and that's a couple inches underneath, and that goes in. So, but that's he was committed. In some ways, I would go. And when I talk to young players about it, because I was scouting many games over the years, over the country, coast to coast, and, some games were decided by penalties, I would try and go find the player after who had missed the penalty. And I said, I'm here scouting for the national team. But you know what? I'm so proud of you. You stepped up for your team. Because it's a huge responsibility. You think about that. There might be a national final or it's the Gold Cup quarterfinal, whatever it is. That's a big responsibility. You said, I'm going to take for my team, for my country, for my province, or whatever the scenario is. And I try and find those young players to say, good for you doing that. That showed such bravery that you went up. I understand you were disappointed you didn't score, but you know what? Continue being brave, as that's what's a really big part of the game.
Well said. That's an awesome description. Sean, we're going to have to try to get you in studio here. My co-host will be back.
I'd love to.
And we got space here in the middle because your commitment to soccer in this country and in Edmonton has been incredible. You're the president of Soccer is Everything. Does that have a website or people can just give it a Google?
Yeah, just give it a Google and you'll find me there. So.
Okay. And thanks for checking in. I know while you're out of town for a little bit. This was an awesome segment. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thanks for having me, Reid. Look forward to the next time.
That is Sean Fleming, president of Soccer is Everything, checking in today on Edmonton Sports Talk. Great interview. Obviously, Canada Soccer has come a long way. He outlined how that has happened, how important it's that we have a pro league. And I loved how he talked about the penalty kicks, telling the goalie, hey, you stop something, it's a bonus. There's no pressure on you. And I loved how he talked about for the guys taking the kicks, be committed. Be committed to what you do. Don't change your mind. Perfect stuff there. Okay. Thanks a lot for joining us. We have plenty more of Oilers discussion, hockey discussion coming up. We have a great segment with a Canadian historian going into Canada Day tomorrow. We're going to do words of the day with Coop providing the words. Keep clicking the thumbs up. We almost are at 100. We need 3 thumbs to get to 100, so don't delay. Get in there and click. You can email reid@edmontonsportstalk.com, post in the nasty chat, text us at 780-218-9999. The afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, home of the kitchen restaurant, all you can eat prime rib buffet for just $49.99 every Sunday from 4 to 10 p.m. Bouchard, the reported contract, again, not yet announced by the Edmonton Oilers, is is 4 years, $10.5 million per season, not total. 4 years, $10.5 million per season would be the cap hit. I put out a fun assignment. We're still going to do this, Coob. I'll do it in the next segment. Canada Day tomorrow. Give us your all-time Canadian hockey roster, but you have to pick your line combinations and your D pairings. You can't just list, here's the 20 greatest hockey players for Canada. I want the line combinations, and I want the D pairings, and I want your goalie and your backup goalie. Somebody just emailed me, reid@edmontonsportstalk.com. We'll do it in the next segment, and hopefully it'll get people talking. I tweeted mine. A couple people didn't like it already because of where I had a certain Connor McDavid, but I'll explain that as well as we move along. Here's the Coob with the sports update.
Multiple sources have reported that Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth $10.5 million this season. And staying in Edmonton, Philp and Kapanen have signed 1-year contracts. Philp signing a 2-way contract at league minimum. Kapanen getting over $1 million next season. And according to TSN's Darren Dreger and Chris Johnston, the Leafs are shipping Mitch Marner to Vegas in a trade and sign, having Marner set to sign a max-length $96 million contract with the Knights. No trade details just yet. Down south, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman is reporting that 37-year-old Brad Marchand and the Panthers are closing in on a 6-year deal worth $32 million total, while Aaron Ekblad has agreed to an 8-year extension worth just over $6 million per season to stay in Florida. Out east, MLB action has 8 games. Toronto and New York open a 4-game series. Max Scherzer gets the ball for the Jays. Carlos Rodon takes the mound for the Yankees. First pitch is scheduled for 5:07. This sports update is brought to you by Windsor Plywood Leduc. Locally owned and operated, serving Leduc and surrounding areas since '93. They have doors, flooring, baseboards, and of course, they have plywood. Go see the knowledgeable staff today at Windsor Plywood Leduc. The conversation continues following the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
The EST Hangout.
So is Bouchard going to get a short one?
When we were getting these texts on Hello Hockey the other day, is like, hey, does the Dobson deal now set Bouchard at under 10? And I think we were hesitant to go there. Yeah, Dobson's good, puts up good numbers, but the Islanders are nowhere near the same team that the Oilers have been over the last few years. Dobson, playoff success is crucial, and Bouchard's had that.
The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage. Weekday mornings 9 to 11, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Summer in Edmonton means 3 things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Grab your hard hat and huddle up. Your Edmonton Elks face the Ottawa Red Blacks this Sunday. It's the first ever hard hat huddle game, featuring excavators and diggers in the tailgate and construction-themed in-game contests. Plus, Purolator Tackle Hunger is collecting non-perishable food items and monetary donations at the game, with all proceeds to Edmonton's food bank. Elks Hard Hat Huddle, presented by Purolator Tackle Hunger, 5 p.m. Sunday. Tickets start at just $20. Score yours now at goelks.com.
You've always known GCL Diesel as the experts in diesel fuel systems, but did you know that GCL is also your source for turbochargers and turbo repair? As a turbo supplier for Garrett, Borg Warner, and Holset, GCL can provide genuine original equipment turbos at wholesale prices. Whether it's diesel, gas, natural gas, or performance, we can provide you with the turbo or custom repair you require. Turbo questions? We've got turbo answers. Visit us in the West End or online at GCLDiesel.com. GCL Diesel, turbochargers, understood.
Here's to the beautiful lakes and stunning landscapes Canada has to offer. And for the kayak, camping gear, and summer toys you used to enjoy them? Need extra space? Sentinel Storage. Try 4 weeks free. Visit sentinelstorage.ca. Happy Canada Day.
Click, click, click.
All right. Thanks, Coop. Appreciate it, buddy. How do you say this name? Jay Cranites in the Nasty Chat. I still have my 1996 Florida Panthers jersey. We suffered for over 20 years in hell. This is the universe granting us reprieve. Though I was 11 and it doesn't fit me, it's in a frame, LOL. Well, thank you for sharing. Nice to have a Panthers fan in the Nasty Chat. Who was it? What was that one guy just spamming us a couple of weeks ago when they won the cup and calling all the Oilers fans names? That was disappointing.
I mean, it's a rivalry, right?
I guess it is now. They don't play very often in the regular season, but 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. We're going to have a bit of a rivalry. All right, Evan Bouchard. I think that the Oilers might be making it official possibly soon. Getting some indications with that, but the reported contract, 4 years, $10.5 million per season for Evan Bouchard. Our off-topic topic for William Huff. We got a lot going on today. Fun show. We talked some Canada soccer. We talked with Paul LaPolice about being a transplanted American living and working in Canada for, I guess, about 25 years. And our off-topic topic for William Huff, what is the best place in Canada you've ever visited? And what is one place you have not visited that you would like to go to?
From Troll, Canmore saying that Canmore is one of the nicest places in Canada. Didn't add a place that they haven't been. Favorite place I've ever been, coming in from KC, Dawson City, Yukon. Such a cool little town. Where'd I'd like to go? Quebec City. And for Brad the Optician, born and partially raised in Newfoundland, lived in Ontario as well. On his second stint in Nova Scotia, and lived in Edmonton for 17 years. So been all over, driven through all the provinces. Favorite places are Banff, Cabot Trail in Cape Breton, and Prince Edward Island. Wanting to travel through the territories. Comes from Brad the Optician. There's a lot of beautiful landscapes and things here in Canada. It's so diverse. You know, there's so many places that you could go, and I don't think, we get cold here in Alberta, but in the territories, it's beautiful, and I like the cold, but it's probably too cold for me. You know what I mean? Like, I could respect somebody wanting to go up to the territories. There's lots that you could do up there, enjoy nature. Too cold for me, personally.
All right. I don't know where I would pick as the nicest place I visited in Canada. I guess I haven't been that many places. I really like Montreal for a city. Canmore is pretty nice, for sure. Man, I don't know. Some places in southern Ontario along the lakes are pretty nice. I mean, I've been a few places there. We got family out there. And I have not been to the Maritimes. I haven't been to Quebec City.
Do you have any itch to go out to the Maritimes?
Yes, I'd love to see the Maritimes. I'd love to have been in every province before I leave this earth.
What provinces have you not been? Well, I guess you haven't
4
been there.
Maritimes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because I've been in every other province.
Have you been to any territory?
No. Have you?
No.
See, so really, I've hardly been anywhere.
Yeah.
It's this beautiful country I live in. I've hardly been anywhere.
I've been to Calgary once.
YouTube Trev's in the Nasty Chat. Might be biased, but Southern Alberta Rockies, baby. Thank God he put the Rockies on there. All right. Let's do. What do we? Well, let's do. Do you want to do buying or selling?
Sure.
Well, I was going to do it anyway. Coop. Buying or selling, presented by David Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the Greater Edmonton area for over 17 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, Instagram handle, Damon Bunting Real Estate. Okay, you want to do my team? Let's make people mad. Because people are mad I didn't put McDavid high enough. Nothing's wrong with Southern Alberta, Trev. You're a nice guy. So Canada Day tomorrow, I wanted your all-time Canadian hockey roster. So I tweeted mine. And of course, I don't get any people putting out their rosters. I just get people criticizing mine. So every Canadian hockey player is eligible for the roster. going back to the dawn of time. And I thought I want to put together 4 good lines and 3 good D pairings, not just rank 1 through 12. Okay, you ready, Coop?
I think so.
First line, Gretzky centering Esposito and Lemieux. Now, there's a lot of centers on this roster. And I thought, man, I'm not giving Mario his own line. But Gretzky and Lemieux together at the 87 Canada Cup was pretty incredible. And Phil Esposito scored a ton of goals and I think could add a little bit to that line. So Gretzky with Esposito and Lemieux. Okay? Gordie Howe with Mark Messier and Bobby Hall. What do you think of that line?
This is pretty solid, yeah.
Not bad. Some of the players that I have to leave off. Yzerman with Crosby and Lafleur. Okay. Trottier with McDavid and Bossy. So people are freaking out at McDavid, a 4th line left wing. Well, quite frankly, there's better players to play center than McDavid. And I'm trying to put together balanced lines. So Gretzky, Lemieux, and Esposito. You got Howe and Messier together, right? Then I thought Yzerman with Crosby and Lafleur. 2 pretty good all-around guys with an elite shooter. Then you got Trottier, great all-around guy. Bossy, great finisher. McDavid, threat to do a little bit of everything. So imagine Trottier being the responsible guy on that line and McDavid buzzing and setting up Mike Bossy. That's how I thought of that one. And not necessarily he's a 4th line left winger. Plus, he's not done his career. Connor McDavid has not done his career. I only have 2 active players on this team. My extra forwards were Joe Sakic and Jean Beliveau. Forwards 13 and 14. Okay? Defensively, now they're all left shots except for one guy. How about this for the skating on this one? Bobby Orr with Cale Makar.
The 2 best defensemen or skaters on the back end for sure. All time, no?
Paul Coffey with Ray Bourque. Dennis Potvin with Doug Harvey. The 7th defenseman is Larry Robinson.
That's a good team, man. I like that first pairing a lot.
Orr and Makar, that'd be something to watch. Yeah, maybe you'd have to split them up. I don't know. My goaltenders are Brodeur, Waugh, and Plante. Now, look, obviously I didn't see Plante play, but I phoned Jim Matheson about this. And he thought it was pretty good, but he said Glenn Hall should be on the team. I didn't know which goalie he would replace. So people are freaking out that I didn't have McDavid higher in the lineup. Well, do you want me to be really sarcastic? Do you want me to be really No, maybe I shouldn't do it, Coop. Should I do it? Okay, I'll do it.
You do it.
Okay, I'll do it. I want you to hear that roster. One player hasn't won a Stanley Cup on my entire roster. Who do you think it is, Coop? Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
He's lucky to be on the team. Probably should have put Ron Francis on, quite frankly. One of the best all-around players ever. Trev says, you don't think McDavid would be the best player on that team? No, I don't, actually. I actually don't. I think Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky would be the 2 best players on that team.
And you didn't have Messier in that forward group?
Messier's with Howe and Bobby Hall.
Sorry.
That's a pretty good line. Sheesh Edit says, hey, Reid, is that team Canada Cup or Canada Cap? I mean, I hope he means Canada Cup cap compliant. That's pretty good. Okay, I'll give the lines one more time. So Canada Day tomorrow. This is my all-time Canadian hockey roster. Lines, D pairings, and goalies. I didn't just list the goal. Yeah, I'll do the lines in a different order so people don't get all butthurt about McDavid being on the quote-unquote fourth line. I'll give the lines in a random order. Yzerman centering Crosby and Lafleur. Like, we have to move centers to the wing here. Trottier between McDavid and Bossy. So 2 classic Islanders with McDavid. Howe with Messier and Hall. Gretzky with Esposito and Lemieux. The extra forwards would be Joe Sakic and Jean Beliveau. So the only current player on the forwards I have is McDavid. Defensively, Denny Potvin with Doug Harvey. Paul Coffey with Raymond Bourque. Bobby Orr with Cale Makar. We might have to split up Orr and Makar. Do we need that much speed in one D pairing?
Nah, maybe not.
Well, then Coffey could skate pretty well too. Maybe we have to put them all on. Maybe we go. We could do Orr and Bourque, 2 Bruins together. We could do Potvin and Makar and Coffey and Harvey, maybe. Larry Robinson is the 7th defenseman. And then the goaltenders are Marty Brodeur, Patrick Roy, and Jacques Plante, though Jim Matheson said I should have had Glenn Hall on the team. Be a pretty good team. And plus, you could just move guys around quite easily.
Put them anywhere.
Well, you know what? We got to go nuclear. Let's go. What would the nuclear option be on this team? McDavid, Gretzky, and Lemieux? Probably. So I mean, it's like crazy. Do you know how many goals Bossy and Lafleur scored? A lot.
A lot of goals, yeah. Bossy had, 600 and 900
He scored
games?
50 like every year he played.
Yeah.
Esposito had a 76-goal season. Rip City Step says, I'd go with a lot of guys over Bobby Hall. He scored a lot of goals too. Yeah, give me other options. This is the fun part. Give me other options instead of just getting mad at me. Well, you can get mad at me too, whatever. So Gretzky with Esposito. And I was trying to build actual lines, right? Gretzky with Esposito and Lemieux. Howe with Messier and Hall. Yzerman with Crosby and Lafleur. Trottier with McDavid and Bossy. Sakic and Beliveau, your other forwards. Defenseman, Orr with Makar. Coffey with Bourque. Potvin with Harvey. Larry Robinson's your healthy scratch. Big Bird waiting to come in. And then Brodeur, Waugh, and Plante as your goaltenders.
Did you have any thought of Nate McKinnon even scratching the roster as an extra forward?
Yes, McKinnon. I looked at a lot of guys. Doug Gilmour, Robitaille, Marcel Dion.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got one person actually participated. Everybody else just got mad at me. Where's my email? Collingwood Rob. So he's given 5-man units with goaltenders. So he actually has 4 goaltenders. McDavid, Gretzky, Messier, or Niedermeyer and Brodeur. Oh, Niedermeyer could be on my team too. I've totally forgot about Niedermeyer. Crosby centering Stamkos and McKinnon with Makar and Coffey and net. Waugh, the goaltender. Mario Lemieux between Gilbert Perreault and Guy Lafleur with Larry Robinson and Raymond Bourque on defense, and he has Grant Fuhr as the goaltender. And then he has Esposito, Bossy, and Trottier together with Potvin and Scott Stevens, and then Carey Price as his 4th goaltender. That's also a very good team. So he had that. Niedermeyer is a good one. We have to I don't know who's off the team. Paul Coffey's off the team. No, I'm joking.
For Niedermeyer?
Who would you bump off for Niedermeyer?
Well, that's a highly offensive team.
I never saw Harvey play. So there's a couple guys on this list. I never saw Harvey play. I never saw Beliveau play. And I never saw Bobby Hall play. And I never saw Jacques Plante play. But I didn't just only pick guys that I've seen in the 51 years of my life, though that's most of hockey history if you look at the number of players and number of teams that were on there. I mean, I could have put Joe Malone on the team, but I didn't. Matt Hyman wants Reggie Leach. Lindsay. Yeah, I didn't have Ted Lindsay. I'm just reading out the nasty chat here.
Brad Park.
Smitty the Welder says should have had Niedermeyer. Oh, Lindros, yeah, from Smitty. Yeah, Lindros would have been one. Box Pounder says, sorry, Reid, how do I put this nicely? You're Delulu if Bobby Hall is on the team. That's fine.
Maurice Richard.
Oh my God, how do I...
Come on.
This is all wrong. This is all wrong. I forgot Maurice Richard. Okay, Bobby Hall's cut. Maurice Richard is now on the team. That's a horrible omission. Okay, well now we got to redo the lines. Or do we just put Howe, Messier, and Maurice Richard together?
Howe, Messier, Maurice Richard. Oh, that's a good lineup. That's a good line.
Okay, here's a question. Does Joe Sakic have to get cut?
Yeah. I mean, he could. He could be. I don't know.
What about Trottier? I mean, Trottier is such a good all-around player, though. I mean, if you want to have kind of a checking line, don't you need Trottier on the team? Or do Crosby and Yzerman handle that if necessary?
Get Lindros in there.
Yeah, Lindros would have to play higher up, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but he can hit.
Yeah, Cade says Maurice Richard should be on there if we... Yeah, you can take anybody. Oh, man, this is good. Okay, we'll have to revisit this. Like Howie Moran's... Like, I didn't know how far back to go. I mean, some of these guys were playing 40-game seasons, but they were still pretty good. Okay, I left off Maurice Richard. There's my bad boy moment of the day. Okay, we got a great segment on Canadian history coming up. We're waiting for the Bouchard contract to be finalized by the Oilers here, but reported 4 years, $10.5 million per season. Here's the 5 o'clock break.
Two guys and a goalie.
One that stood out for me as well is, I'll just say, this pisses me off. Establishment of a full-time emergency backup goalie, or EBUG, position within organizations. And the reason it ticks me off is because I love the story. I love the story of the Golden Bear player coming up with the green and gold pads on and the green and gold helmet sitting on the bench.
Two guys and a goalie, presented by GS Construction. Tuesday and Thursday afternoons at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Friday's just got a whole lot more fun. Spin the wheel at the banquet for your shot to win big and save on your bill. Spin, win, save. It's that easy. Details at thebanquetbar.com. The Banquet. Get real. Play hard.
You know Dawn. Everyone knows Dawn. Dawn from
Frontier Cartage. That's right, it's me, Dawn from Frontier Cartage, where we're setting the standard for cartage service in Edmonton and beyond, offering city cartage, Alberta highway, short haul deck, and more. My team and I are bringing our years of industry experience and expertise to every mile.
Join Dawn and her boys in a new chapter in transportation excellence, dedicated to exceptional service. Call Dawn at Frontier Cartage, 587-222-5826.
At Mind 360, we invite you to embark on your mental health journey in a safe and comfortable space. Conveniently located in St. Albert, Mind 360 has a diverse team of experienced clinicians that offer a broad range of tailored services for children, adults, and families. Furthermore, we are very proud to serve our military, veterans, and first responders. If you're looking for counseling, treatment, or assessment, understand that you are not alone. Contact Mind 360 at mind360.ca to book an appointment today.
Looking for quality building materials and friendly advice? Visit us at Windsor Plywood Leduc, family owned and locally run since 1993. From interior materials for doors, flooring, baseboards, and all the finishing touches to all you need for your outdoor projects like cedar lumber for decks and fences, plus all the plywood you'd need. Our full-time on-staff carpenter can help with anything odd-sized or custom, and from domestic hardwoods to exotic selections, we've got you covered. And if we don't have it, we'll track it down for you. Windsor Plywood Leduc. We're the experts you need to know.
Multiple sources have reported that Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year deal worth $10.5 million per season. Staying with the Oilers, Philp and Kapanen have been re-upped on a 1-year deal. Kapanen getting $1 million next season. Philp coming in at league minimum. And according to TSN's Chris Johnson and Darren Dreger, the Golden Knights and Leafs are making a trade-in-sign deal to have Mitch Marner head to Vegas. Marner's reported contract is for 8 years at $12 million a season. More details on the trade to come. And elsewhere, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman, among others, have reported that Aaron Ekblad and the Panthers have agreed to an 8-year extension worth an average salary of $6 million. Brad Marchand also apparently getting a 6-year deal for a total of $32 million. In baseball, there's 8 games. The Jays and Yankees warming up to go toe-to-toe in their series opener. Max Scherzer gets a start for Toronto. And right now, in the bottom of the second inning, Padres and Phillies are tied at 0 aside. I'm Zachary Kubish. That was your sports update. The third and final hour of the Reid Wilkins Show starts right now.
Got him. All right, fun show this afternoon. A lot of news. Coob just did the update there. Yes, leading the way here in Edmonton, Evan Bouchard, 4-year contract, 10.5 per season. Earlier in the day, Philp Kapanen got a 1-year deal. Noah Philp got a 1-year deal. He was on the show at around 3:30 this afternoon. For free agency tomorrow, we'll have a special show starting at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. here on Edmonton Sports Talk. We'll see what the Oilers will do. They don't have a lot of cap space, folks. They have just over $500,000 in cap space, $550,000. Now, maybe Arvidsson gets traded. There's probably going to have to be some other move along the way here if they want to bring in some forwards to play with Leon Draisaitl. I mentioned there, to me, that's a pretty big deficiency on the team. Lot to discuss here in the offseason. The Edmonton Elks, by the way, getting back to practice later this week, and they will host the Ottawa Red Blacks on Sunday. Team Brick Field. Team Brick Alberta's playing in the Brick Invitational at West Edmonton Mall. Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. Okay, Canada Day tomorrow. I'm really honored to meet this guy online anyway, because I've been following him on Twitter for a couple years, and it's just an outstanding, fun, informative Twitter account. It is at Craig Baird, and Craig Baird joins us now. Craig, it's Reid. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to hop on. I don't know what you thought when you were like, why is this sports guy bugging me for an interview? But there's a few places we can go with this. First of all, to kind of just set the table, can you kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and subsequently about the Twitter account on the website?
Yeah, I'm essentially an amateur Canadian historian. It's how I make my living now, by sharing Canadian history to a lot of people online and through my podcast. And I kind of just got started in 2019 when I started making my podcast, and then I started doing the social media, and it slowly grew from there. And now I just spend every day, all day, sharing Canadian history facts, everything from pop culture to sports to, regular, normal history.
Well, and I like your account because, like I said, it's fun, but it's informative. I mean, sometimes it's even a little heartbreaking, or you bring up, bittersweet moments in Canadian history. But clearly people, you have over 60,000 followers. Like, did you ever think, I'm going to do this and people are going to get on board? Or did you start more just doing it for yourself almost?
I definitely started doing it for myself. It was just something that I like to do. But I definitely remember the times where I was tweeting stuff out and getting 3 likes. And now I'll tweet something out and get, 500 likes. So it's nice to see, because it shows that, hey, Canadians are interested in their history. It's just how it's presented, but also shows that, maybe I'm on the right track with this, and that, I can continue to do it for a living for many years to come.
Okay. Well, that's awesome stuff. And you put out a variety of content. So I'll ask you a kind of a cliche type question. I know we're not supposed to do that, but I think this one fits the bill. Like, is it true that because of television and the internet, like even in Canada, we get more exposure to American history than Canadian history? Like, is it still a challenge to teach Canadian history to people?
Absolutely. I think that more Canadians can probably name 10 presidents than 10 prime ministers. And it is because we are inundated with American television, American culture. But at the same time, television has allowed us to find new ways to present Canadian history, like the Heritage Minutes, which was a really big thing for me growing up and helped inspire me with Canadian history. So it's, there's two sides to it. But because we're consuming so much American content, it can be hard for us to really even just look at our own history. We just think that, well, American history and British history is so much more interesting than Canadian history, when it is very much not the case.
Well, we were a couple months ago in our bullpen here, Jay and I, who's away this week, started looking at Canadian prime ministers, and then one guy was quizzing the other. And then we started making up names. Like, was he a prime minister or not? But we didn't do that well. You probably would have been a little disappointed in us. But Craig Baird joining us here, Canadian historian. So when it comes to sports, and I know you tweet about a variety of stuff and post about a variety of stuff, is it hard? Like, is it almost two different threads? Is Canadian hockey history one thing, and then Canadian sports history is almost a separate subject because there's so much mania for hockey here?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that Canadian hockey history really meshes with, general Canadian history a great deal. You look at even just prime ministers like Lester B. Pearson, or even our current one, Mark Carney, played hockey. And you look at these big moments in our history, whether it's the Winnipeg Falcons winning the first Olympic gold medal in hockey in 1920, or the Summit Series, or the 1987 Canada Cup. These moments of huge national pride are very much tied to hockey, especially when we defeat the United States, where we kind of have a little bit of extra gloating aspect to it. And the fact that, even when a team that you might not cheer for from Canada is in the Stanley Cup final, all of Canada kind of wraps itself around that and cheers for what, we call Canada's team. So it definitely is different, but I think we still do celebrate in our own way things that aren't hockey history, like a marathon runner like Tom Longboat, or boxer George Dixon, or a rower like Ned Hanlon, who during their time were immensely famous in Canada and a huge part of our history. But you're very much right that there is hockey history, and then there's other sports history in Canada.
I'm just going to tell you a story here, and you can respond to it however you like, because it might remind you or something, or lead you to a bigger thing. 1988, grade 10. I was a bench warmer on the Grand Trunk High School volleyball team in Evansburg. We were playing a tournament in Thorhild. We were the last match on Friday night. The officials, like the refs, were kind of like, let's go, because Ben Johnson was racing Carl Lewis. Now, there were 6 other men in the race, but we all know what it was about. And unfortunately, we all know what happened. But our match ended in time, and the officials and the 24 players from the two teams and the coaches and whatever parents were there crowded into the staff room and watched Ben Johnson defeat Carl Lewis, which probably would be the greatest sports moment of my life. If not, 3 days later, I got home from school and I heard Brian Williams talking about the Ben Johnson tragedy. But I guess maybe what I'm getting at is that relationship between Canada and trying to beat the United States, because we've been the underdog in everything except hockey almost all the time.
Absolutely. And I think probably a very good example of that, for that I can remember, is Donovan Bailey going against, I think, Michael Johnson in 1997 to determine who was the fastest man in the world. And I remember, with the 1996 Atlanta Olympics and Donovan Bailey winning, and then the Americans suddenly saying, oh, well, the 200-meter sprinter is the fastest man, not the 100 meter. And as Canadians, we're like, well, you can't just change that. And then we have the race, and Johnson pulls up with a hamstring or whatever it was. And so there was a lot of pride in that, hey, we beat them again. So we still have the fastest man in the world. And for me, that would be kind of my Ben Johnson, obviously with a much better outcome for Canadians, in fact, that there wasn't the whole scandal and everything. But yeah, I think there is a lot of when we beat the Americans. Would the 2010 Vancouver gold medal game be as huge as it was if it wasn't on home soil and beating the United States, or even the Four Nations Cup that just happened? We beat the United States there. And I think there is that just a little bit extra bit of pride for us when we can beat somebody like the Americans.
Well, and I think that with hockey too, it's always been like, well, at least we're better at hockey. And then in the 90s, they started getting very, very good in hockey. And quite frankly, like I had a soccer guest on earlier. Like when Canada went to the World Cup in '86, like I don't even know if the States were close. And then they host, and now they've kind of had these couple sports where it's like, really? No, you just put your mind to it, and you're good at that too. So, but I'll throw one at you here. And if you don't want to give one answer, that's fine. Like the biggest moment in Canadian sports history. I know it's generational. I mean, my father, I wasn't born in 72, but my father says, yeah, we all went in the gym at the school he was teaching at in Ontario and watched the Henderson game. Certainly my generation has not just the Crosby goal, but let's not forget the Lemieux from Gretzky goal in 87 was massive. But man, oh man, I'm fond of that Bailey race. Again, because of all the fallout from 88. That might be my favorite. I know it's almost sacrilegious not to mention hockey as my favorite Canadian sports moment, but man, oh man, I love that Bailey race, and I've got to interview him about it. Do you have one, or do we have to just look at the historical context of all of them?
I would say that I do. I have what's in my lifetime and then outside my lifetime. So definitely in my lifetime, Crosby's golden goal, because on home soil, gold, we win the gold medal. But also, I think I remember watching Joe Carter hit the home run to win us the World Series, two seasons in a row. And I think that might even be bigger than the golden goal, because Americans talk about how that's their national pastime, even though the first recorded baseball game was played in Canada, and we were able to win twice and take that north of the border. But in terms of Canadian history, the 1972 Summit Series has become so ingrained in our history. And just because we used to dominate hockey so much from about the 1920s to the 1950s, and then the Soviets came in and we started losing to them. And then it became, well, it's because we don't have our NHL players playing. And there was a lot of hubris to that, and the fact we nearly lost, but then there was this Canadian spirit of banding together. Canadians go to Moscow. There's so many bits of the storyline that are just amazing. And then winning with, 40 seconds left in Game 8 is just... There's a reason we still talk about Paul Henderson, and it's because of that goal. And I think that's why that's probably the biggest sports moment in Canadian history, easily, even though it's outside of my lifetime.
Yeah, well, then that's a great way to explain it, and just the whole political environment. And I mean, didn't Alan Eagleson think he might get dragged out back and never be seen from again during the game and stuff like that? That's an incredible context. Okay, we'll have to have you on again. People in the chat obviously follow you. Somebody asked, who was it now? Mex says Craig is doing a Canadian album poll right now. What does he think is the actual best Canadian album of all time?
It's hard to choose. I would have to say Moving Pictures by Rush or Fully Completely by the Tragically Hip.
And what do you what's angling to win the poll? I didn't see how far along you are.
We're still just starting the 2000s. I think it'll probably be between Joni Mitchell, Neil Young, Rush, and Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay, Craig, we'll have to talk again. Incredible perspective. Love the Twitter account. So I've tweeted it out. Well, you have more followers than me, so I don't know if you really need me tweeting you out, but it's at Craig Baird, BAIRD. And what's the website?
The website is CanadaEHX.com, and then the podcast is just Canadian History X, and that's EHX.
Okay. Thank you so much for hopping on Edmonton Sports Talk. Happy Canada Day. Hope we can talk again soon.
You as well. Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Great story. Great storyteller. Craig Baird just started posting and writing and talking about Canadian history, and now he has tens of thousands of followers and people liking his stuff. So he says that the greatest sports moment of all time for Canada, the Henderson goal. Hard to argue with that, though. Obviously a lot of the audience wouldn't have been around for that. But that's pretty cool. Box Pounder says, this guy just named my entire music library. That's pretty cool. Rip City Step says, the disrespect for Jagged Little Pill. Probably a lot of people would identify that as their favorite Canadian album. That was good stuff. Now, Coob, what did we establish as your age?
21.
So do you have a favorite Canadian sports moment?
Well, really, the only one that comes to mind is the Sidney Crosby golden goal. and Connor McDavid's most recent goal. Like, I don't have one that really stands out to me, given that I grew up being a hockey fan as well, and I never really got into like the history and the huge moments in those other sports. So it's got to be the Crosby golden goal for me.
It's interesting he brought up the Blue Jays winning.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Blue Jays is not a team of Canadian players, but there was a lot of national pride for that a team based in Canada won. I mean, I was in university when that was going on. I remember it seemed like everybody was watching, and the Blue Jays had been building. I mean, they had a good team in '85. They had a good team in '87. They'd been in the playoffs, but they'd blown it I think in '85 they were up 3-1 on the Royals and lost in the American League Championship Series. So there was sort of this like, the Blue Jays are never going to get over the hump, and then they won it in '92 and again in '93. The Carter home run. That was the second of the two, but just the drama of him hitting a World Series ending home run was pretty big. I loved Bailey winning in '96. I mean, for me, 8 years after all the disappointment with Ben Johnson, and certainly like the '87 Canada Cup, like that's my hockey tournament, and I don't just mean mine. I think so I was 13. I mean, what an age to be watching. I mean, still the Soviet Union, right? Still Cold War, communism, all that kind of stuff. What a time to be watching that. Played in Canada. You can watch all the games. Gretzky and Lemieux are on the team. Like a whole bunch of Oilers were on the team. All these great players are on the team. And then, they get to the best of three final. Every game is 6-5. The first two go to overtime. Lemieux wins it in the final 2 minutes off the pass from Gretzky. I mean, just that whole tournament was incredible. And it worked out perfectly with Canada and the Soviets in the final. And then Gretzky, who at that time was more mid-career, sets up the young guy, Mario Lemieux, for the winner. It was marvelous. So I still have a soft spot for that one. Certainly, I recognize the significance of the Crosby golden goal.
Right.
I mean, the McDavid Four Nations goal.
It's not as high level. It's not the
Olympics.
Right? Yeah.
It's not the Olympics. But I think a big deal. It'll still be remembered because it won the tournament. It beat the States. It played in the States. I mean, the game was in Boston. And like it or not, and I know I hesitate to bring this person up because people get mad either way, but all the stuff with Trump and the 51st state talk around that time, I know it's still going on, but it was a little more hot and heavy there with the tariffs for us to win the tournament in overtime that way.
The timing was perfect. Like it couldn't have been any better, right?
Let's face it, it was kind of like a middle finger to them.
Yeah,
right?
well, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah. Well, one sport moment that I didn't really hear get brought up, and I know it's a different approach. It's not a team sport. You don't really rally behind. Well, you do rally behind it. Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope, right? Because it was running, thing. But it goes further than sports.
You're right, and that's why. Because I've talked about this in the past, on my shows and just with friends or whatever. Is Terry Fox the greatest athlete of all time? And I guess why I would say I wouldn't put him in that category is because he's bigger than that. Obviously, what he did was athletic. But when I say the greatest athlete of all time, are you in a competition? So, he wasn't running in a race or an Olympics or marathons of all time. I think Fox is bigger than that in the conversation to be one of the greatest Canadians of all time.
Yes. Yeah.
It almost might sound weird. It almost would diminish him to say, well, he's the greatest athlete of all time. It's like, well, no, he needs a bigger category than that.
Yeah.
But what he did was obviously incredibly difficult and incredibly athletic and marvelous and amazing in every way.
Right.
But
and for me growing up, that was the biggest name. When I heard somebody in Canada, I always thought for pride purposes as well, Terry Fox was the one name that always came up. Every single September, we would do the Marathon of Hope at our elementary school and stuff like that. All the kids would go run around and we'd remember such a great person that was Terry Fox. And then every so often you hear about Wayne Gretzky, right?
Right.
It's kind of how it was for me.
Right, because you never saw Gretzky play live at all, obviously.
No. He was in the Hall of Fame in '99.
Right, because he finished in '99. Okay. Yeah, it's a fun topic. I mean, a lot of great Canadian sports moments, but I think the three goals always come up, and then I think the Bailey race or then the relay the following Saturday. Now, we we won the relay at the last Olympics, right? With DeGrasse. We won the 4x100 men's relay. That one doesn't seem to get mentioned as much.
No, I don't know why that is either, though. I mean, it was a pretty big news story in the moment, but kind of faded away, right? It didn't really stick.
Right.
But once it comes around again, it'll be brought back up, right?
Yeah. Fun topic for sure. 780-218-9999 is how you can text us. It's the afternoon inbox presented by River Cree Resort and Casino, featuring Italia Restaurant, home of the $6.99 brunch special from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sundays. Reid Wilkins flying solo this week. Jason Milne, well, Coop's here, but Jason Milne is off. Camped out here in the Banquet Studio. Celebrate your birthday at the Banquet Bar. Amazing drinks, great vibes, and unforgettable memories. Book your party today at thebanquetbar.com. All right, here comes the Coop.
Multiple sources have reported that Evan Bouchard and the Oilers have agreed to a 4-year extension worth $10.5 million per season. And staying in Edmonton, Noah Philp and Kapanen have signed 1-year contract extensions. Philp signing a 2-way deal at league minimum, with Kapanen getting over $1 million next season. According to TSN's Darren Dreger and Chris Johnston, the Leafs are shipping Mitch Marner to Vegas in a trade and sign, having Marner set to sign a max-length $96 million contract with the Knights. More details on the trade to come. Down south, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman is reporting 37-year-old Brad Marchand and the Panthers are closing in on a 6-year contract extension, $32 million total, while Aaron Ekblad has agreed to an 8-year contract worth over $6 million per season to stay with the Panthers. Out east, MLB action has 8 games. Toronto and New York are underway in the top of the second. It's runless between the Yankees and Jays. Max Scherzer on the mound for Toronto, 2 outs for New York. This sports update is brought to you by Find Edmonton. Find takes your unused furniture and home goods to help those moving out of homelessness. Get donations picked up or drop them off free of charge. Visit findedmonton.com or call them at 780-988-1717. The conversation continues once we get back from break. I'm Zachary Kubish, and you're up to date.
The Oil Stream.
Jake from Ontario says, could the Kapanen signing be a panic move because Brown is probably gone, trying to keep speed with Brown out the door and a right-hand shot? Yeah, but I just think Kapanen would be available July 2nd or 3rd still.
Yes, I would think so. He was waived.
Yes.
Nobody wanted him except Edmonton.
The Oil Stream, presented by Boston Pizza. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Summer in Edmonton means 3 things: warm weather, long nights, and plenty of sports. From the lake to the links, you can boost your summer fun with hundreds of casino games, live betting on your favorite sports teams, and access to popular lotteries. All in one app, anywhere in the province. Download the Play Alberta app today and deposit $20 or more with promo code YAG50 to claim a $50 free bet. That's promo code YAG50 for a $50 free bet on us. Redeemable once per Play Alberta account. Remember, if you gamble, please use your game sense.
Strike up some fun at the Banquet Bar. Bowling, drinks, and a great time with friends, where the good times roll. Whether you're here to bowl or just hang out, the Banquet Bar is your go-to spot. Get real, play hard at the Banquet.
Hey Edmonton, ready to take advantage of lower rates and better pricing? South Fort Chevrolet in Fort Saskatchewan has you covered. From rugged trucks to sleek SUVs. And with over 40 years in business, you can trust that you're getting the best deal on your new ride. As the proud title sponsor of The Nielsen Show, EST listeners can drive a little to save a lot with South Fort Chevrolet's transparent pricing and down-to-earth sales team. Visit us today in Fort Saskatchewan or online at southfortchev.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino and K97 proudly present Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly. Featuring small band and acoustic performances, Steve Earle and Reckless Kelly in the venue July 25th. Tickets at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it. Hosting the Big Canada Day Bash? Make room for the celebration with Sentinel Storage. From decluttering the garage, storing your seasonal gear, and keeping your treasures safe, we've got the space so you can enjoy the day and every day. Try 4 weeks free at sentinelstorage.ca.
All right, good to have you tuning in this afternoon. Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne. Jason Milne is off. He will return 1 week from today. The Coupe is here. Play Alberta, of course, our presenting sponsor. Why settle for less when you can have it all? Only Play Alberta brings you casino games, live dealers, lottery, instants, and sports betting all in one place. Players can get a $50 bonus, casino bonus, by depositing $20 and using the code EST Casino. You can get a free $50 sports bet by depositing $20 and using the code EST Sports. Don't forget to use your Game Sense, and you can do those today if you haven't done them already this month, because tomorrow's July, so we're going to have some new codes coming out. So jump in there and use these ones. Evan Bouchard, I think the orders are going to make it official perhaps any second. So we will keep you updated on that. Just waiting for something to come in from them. Earlier today, Kapanen, new contract from the Oilers, 1 year, $1.3 million. Noah Philp, new contract from the Oilers as well, 1 year, $775,000. We had Noah Philp on the show at about 3:30 this afternoon. If you miss anything, you can go back and get it on the YouTube stream or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're streaming us live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, we thank you for doing that as well. Just some of the other big signs. I know Coop's been keeping everybody updated, but just to go over these. Ekblad signing with Florida, so he's staying in Florida. Brad Marchand staying with the Florida Panthers, a longer deal. What did he get? A 6-year deal? My goodness. We have not seen the return for Marner yet, Coop?
No report.
So the report there is that Marner signs a contract with the Leafs, 8 years, $13 million per season, and that then gets traded to Vegas. So the sign and trade for Marner. The Oilers right now have cap space of $550,000. So they're going to have to do something else here. There's going to have to be another move coming or something like that. But we'll keep an eye on that. Again, I get the criticism or whatever. I mean, if you don't like Bouchard, if you didn't want him on the team, didn't want him highly paid, I get that. As I was saying off the top of the show, offensive players tend to make a lot of money. Or players who put up points tend to make a lot of money. Yes, I'd like to see fewer turnovers from Bouchard. Yes, I would like to see sort of sturdier physical play. Hopefully Bouchard takes some steps in that category. I don't know if he's ever going to become a big banger or a defensive wizard or anything like that. It sounds like Evan, if the Oilers do announce this, it sounds like Evan Bouchard would not be speaking today. That would likely be tomorrow morning. Okay? So we were just wondering how we were going to get that on if anything happened. Evan Bouchard gets played. I think, or he's going to get paid. I think a bigger concern for me is who's going to play forward for this team, and specifically who's going to score the goals besides the usual suspects. So here are the forwards that we have on the roster. Draisaitl, McDavid, Hyman, Nugent-Hopkins, Arvidsson for the time being, probably won't be here. Frederick, Henrique, Janmark, Kapanen, this new guy, David Tomasek, who's an older European player, Max Jones, and Podkolzin, and then Matt Savoy. So, right now, we're looking at a top six that only has 4 players in it. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Hyman. Could Matt Savoy play in the top 6? Maybe, but I don't know yet because I haven't seen him. Can Kapanen play there? He can, but I don't think he belongs there. Can Podkolzin play there? I can, but I don't think he belongs there. Maybe Frederick, but I think he's better off as a third-line player. So we're going to have to see how they round out the team. And I think that's going to be vital. I get those of you that don't think that Bouchard should be paid that much. I get this still some of the griping about Nurse's contract, but who's gonna help Leon Draisaitl or Nugent Hopkins? if depending on how they deploy the lines. Now, there's a lot of time to go. A year ago, there was a lot of excitement over Jeff Skinner and Victor Arvidsson, and neither guy worked out that great. So, but those are pretty big question marks to me. That's more of a question mark than how Bouchard is going to play. Because I think Bouchard's going to do his thing, and that's going to be every once in a while. He's really frustrating, but he can get points and he can move the puck. Who's he going to be moving it to? The Oilers didn't have a true second line for most of the playoffs, so we're going to have to address that. Fired Up is presented by Gemco Fireplaces, proudly serving Edmonton and area for 45 years. The authorized dealer for Napoleon Fireplaces. Whether it's gas or wood burning, look no further than Canadian-made Napoleon Fireplaces. All the Napoleon products you need are available at Gemco, 9281 50th Street. All right, so I'm fired up. So I made a massive mistake today, Coop. I did my all-time Canadian hockey roster. And I didn't just list the players. I put them in line combinations and D pairings.
Put a lot of work into it.
Massive omission. Now corrected. I didn't have Maurice Richard on my original roster. He's now on the team. Have you done one of your own?
I actually have.
Oh, we got to hear the.
Yeah,
Coups.
I was able to.
I'm fired up to hear the Coups roster.
All righty here. Oof. Okay. Well, for the first line, where'd I write this here? There we go. Flip the page. It's always on the other side of the page. Did you know that there's two pieces of paper? I didn't almost, but no. For that first line that I have, all Canadian lineup in hockey. Mario Lemieux on the left side.
Okay.
Centered by Wayne Gretzky and Phil Esposito, right wing.
Oh, you have the same line I did. I just had Mario on the right.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I think that's the line to... Oh, sorry. No. I'm reading yours. I wrote yours down.
You're reading mine out.
Let me redo.
Don't read mine out.
Redo. Okay. Gordie Howe.
Yeah.
On the left side with Gretzky centering. Mike Bossy on that right side. Maybe flip Howe and Bossy.
Well, pretty good line, even though somebody's playing. So Gretzky's the center.
Gretzky
pretty
is
good
the
line,
center.
even though Howe might have to play his off wing. He could probably do it.
I believe in Howe. Mario Lemieux, left wing with Crosby centering. Phil Esposito on that right side.
Okay.
Third line, I have Connor McDavid centering. Messier and McKinnon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On that right side.
That's a good line.
Fourth line, Marcel Dion on the left wing. Joe Thornton centering. Maurice Richard on that right side.
Wow, okay.
So quite a different lineup.
Yeah, I don't think you can leave Lafleur off the team, personally.
Yeah, he's got to be one of the extras. Yzerman and Lafleur is the extra. I mean,
you have Yzerman and Lafleur as your 13th and 14th forwards?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I was debating as well.
And you have Jumbo Joe on the team.
Yeah, I have Jumbo Joe on the team.
All right.
I feel like he was a fantastic player, so slot him in there. I don't know. Any of those 13, 14 forwards I think would do pretty well if they were slotted in this lineup.
I think Lafleur has to be up there.
Has to be cemented in. So who would you change out on that?
For yours? Well, I wouldn't have Dion on the team.
Okay.
Yeah, but he got a lot of points.
I guess for a fourth line kind of guy, maybe wouldn't be the right role for him.
Well, is there really a true fourth line? Like, yeah,
I know.
Okay, what are your D?
Orr and McInnes.
Oh, you got Al McInnes, okay?
Yeah,
pretty good player.
Dennis Potvin and Cale Makar.
Okay.
Paul Coffey and Ray Bork.
Okay.
And then I got Niedermeyer as my extra.
Yeah. Okay, and who are your goalies?
Goalies, it was a bit tough. I just went with the goodies. Martin Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, and Glenn Hall.
Okay, so you have Hall on the team.
Yep.
So I had Brodeur, Waugh, and Plant. Well, both are pretty good teams. So I didn't have Dion or Thornton on my team. And I originally had Bobby Hall on my team, but then I realized I forgot Maurice Richard, or somebody brought up that I forgot Maurice Richard. So I put Maurice Richard on the team. Did you have... Okay, and you didn't have Trottier on the team.
I did not have Trottier.
I love Trottier as a player.
No, I didn't really... I mean, I might have seen a couple highlights,
play, yeah.
but I had Mike Bossy on that first line because
Bossy. Well, I mean, and then when we're numbering the lines, it's not really if there's a true fourth. Like when I posted them on Twitter, I had McDavid on the fourth line. It's like, okay, I'm not saying he's a fourth line player. Everybody, settle down.
Correct, but one of the first guys that came to mind was Bossy. Trottier didn't really come to mind.
I like your line of Crosby with Lemieux and Esposito. That's an interesting one.
It's a good combo because, well, Lemieux and Crosby played together for what, one or two seasons when Lemieux
not a ton,
back.
but yeah.
Yeah, he came back after Crosby was drafted, which was pretty cool. And I don't know, I wanted to sneak McKinnon in there. He is just a fantastic player, and he would fit with McDavid.
So I only had two current players on mine. I had McDavid and Makar, who's even younger than McDavid. Because at first I was like, do I even bother putting current players on it? So you're only current. Oh, see, you had two current players, but you have McKinnon and McDavid.
I had three.
Who's
or
the other?
Four. Sorry, four.
You have four current players?
Makar, Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon.
Oh, right. I keep counting Crosby as a retired player. He's also current.
Well, he's got a storied career though, right? Like it's a little bit different compared to those other three. They still got some ways to go. Not that Crosby could probably play until he's 45 or whatever. But
right, I guess I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking Crosby is near the end of his career, so he's done what he's going to do.
Right.
McDavid and Makar are still in the process of doing it, but I still thought they've done enough to put them on the team. But that's why I had McDavid a little lower in the lineup. And again, so here's the thing. We get a lot of people who write into this show and say you can't talk about McDavid as one of the all-time greats until he's won a Stanley Cup. Okay? So then I put him on my team with all-time greats, and then people are mad at me. Well, you don't have you're underestimating him. He's the only player on my team who hasn't won the Stanley Cup. By what a lot of people argue is I shouldn't have even put him on. And then I put him on, and it's like, oh, you're disrespecting him by having him with Trottier and Bossy. Really? I'm disrespecting Connor McDavid by putting him on a line with Brian Trottier and Mike Bossy.
Disrespect, for sure.
Imagine McDavid setting up Mike Bossy. Literally one of the greatest shooters of all time. Literally one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Score with his eyes closed. Just get him the puck.
And then you got Trottier doing a bit of everything and being the defensively responsible guy on that line. Maybe that's actually the number one line.
It might be. I had three players.
Then again, Gretzky and Lemieux. I have Gretzky, Lemieux, and Esposito on a line.
Right. I think I had three players without a Stanley Cup because McInnes.
No, McInnes won the Stanley Cup with Calgary. Who on yours doesn't have a cup?
Marcel Dion, Joe Thornton, and
McDavid, right?
Yeah, Connor McDavid.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, but I don't buy into this that you can only be a great player if you've won a championship. I mean, it helps with your greatness, I suppose, but I don't think it diminishes a player if he never won the Stanley Cup. I mean, you can be an awesome, otherworldly, all-time great player without having a Stanley Cup. Now, sure, it adds to your accomplishments and your resume and your mystique if you've got a championship and have done well on the big stage, for sure, but I mean, what I was saying, I was kind of poking fun at people who want it both ways, right? They want McDavid to be criticized for not having won a Stanley Cup, but then when I put him on a team with a bunch of Stanley Cup winners, they're mad at me that I don't have him higher in the lineup. So, anyway. That'd be a pretty good team, though. I just think I couldn't leave Lafleur out of my top 12. I was an idiot for leaving Richard off the team. I think I got a lot of feedback that Bobby Hull was maybe the guy that didn't belong, so I cut Bobby Hull and I put on Maurice Richard. Or my subs were Sakic. My extra forwards were Sakic and Beliveau.
Yeah, Beliveau only has 10 Stanley Cups.
He's got a lot. But I mean, with those, you could have played around. It's pretty fun. Fun exercise going into Canada Day. All right. So the Oilers have announced Evan Bouchard has been signed to a contract extension. Finally. 4 years, $10.5 million. It is official, and Bouchard will be available over Zoom tomorrow at 10 a.m. So maybe we can take that live to start our show. Maddie and I tomorrow. That'd be a fun way to start. So the Bouchard new contract is indeed official. All right, we got a break here with the Coupe. We'll do words of the day coming back. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. It's the Reid Wilkins Show with Jason Milne.
It's official. The Oilers have inked Evan Bouchard to a 4-year deal worth $10.5 million annually, staying with the Oilers. No, Philp and Kapanen have re-signed on a 1-year deal. Kapanen getting $1 million per season next year, or just for next year on the 1-year deal. Philp coming in at league minimum. And according to TSN's Chris Johnson, Darren Dreger, the Golden Knights and Leafs are making a sign-and-trade deal to have Mitch Marner head to Vegas. Marner's reported contract is for 8 years at $12 million annually. Elsewhere, Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman, among others, have reported Aaron Ekblad and the Panthers have agreed to an 8-year deal with an average salary of $6 million. Brad Marchand also apparently getting a 6-year deal for a total of $32 million. In baseball, there's 8 games on the schedule. Right now, it's the Jays and Yankees in the bottom of the 3rd inning. George Springer at bat for Toronto, 1 out for the Jays with a runner on first base. Other action has the Padres down 3-0 to the Phillies in the bottom of the 4th inning, while the Red Sox are up 7-0 on the Reds midway through the 2nd. This sports update is brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists, and you're stuck with a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach that's trusted by the best in the game. Call them at 780-460-9977 or visit their website at advantagesportmed.ca to book an appointment today. The words of the day and much more on the other side of the break. I'm Zachary Kubish, keeping you in the loop.
EST Afternoons.
We got some breaking news. Evan Bouchard has signed a 4-year extension with the Edmonton Oilers for $10.5 per year. Gager, initial thoughts? Let's go.
Oh, man. Poor guy.
It's a tough
He's going to
life.
need a security team.
The Butcher gets paid.
The Butcher gets paid. It's the wave of the future for a lot of these guys.
EST Afternoons, weekday afternoons 1 to 3, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Your clear choice for Edmonton sports.
Your brand deserves more than just a whisper, it deserves a buzz. At the Hive Product Marketing, they specialize in promotional products that bring the buzz. From eye-catching giveaways to unforgettable keepsakes, they got the perfect products to make your brand stand out and get noticed. Visit the Hive Product Marketing and let them create the buzz your business deserves. The Hive Product Marketing, the official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk. Visit them online at thehiveproductmarketing.com.
Looking for a winning strategy for your retirement? Contact me, Joaquin Gage at K4 Financial, where expertise meets dedication. I will always look for a careful approach to your retirement, ensuring your financial future is secure. From tailored strategies to clear, actionable advice, I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Get in touch with me, Joaquin Gage, today at k4financial.ca or email joaquin.gage@k4financial.ca to start planning for a brighter future and a more secure retirement.
Hi there. If you're like me, you like to picture yourself in luxury, even though there's absolutely no way you could afford it. And if you can, well, even better. Thankfully, I picture myself in something that is luxury, but still absolutely affordable, like the all-new Mazda CX-90 from Park Mazda. With the new luxury features like facial recognition settings and quilted detail Napa leather seating, I can pretend to be comfortable with all of my proper settings activated without even touching a button, thanks to Mitch Lewicki and the great staff at Park Mazda. I like to picture Mitch Lewicki as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road, parkmazda.ca.
All right. Thanks a lot for tuning in this afternoon. Coming to you from the Banquet Studio. Strike up some fun at the Banquet Bar. Bowling, drinks, and a great time with friends. Get real, play hard at the Banquet. I didn't read. I got to do limericks. Tube socks. Reid's beer. What's going on? Wrong button. It's okay, Coop. I do that all the time. Reid's beard hit the bin. Now he's prime, looking younger and hotter each time. Jay's jawline is neat, but he can't quite compete. Reid's stealing the spotlight at Showtime. That's very nice. Well, Jay's not even here today. Yes, I did shave my beard. Box Pounder. I used to call him Box Numberer in the Nasty Chat. He did a limerick as well. The free agent deadline is here. Now we can all have a beer. Bouch signed. Some nasties whined. It's Canada Day. I say cheers. Yes. Canada Day tomorrow. 10 a.m. coverage. What else in the Nasty Chat? Some people talking about Ted Lindsay. I never saw Ted Lindsay play. He was a great player. He was sort of, I don't know if he was totally blackballed, but he got sort of shunned to some degree for being involved in starting the NHL Players Association. So that's fair. Ace says the Oilers have way too many passengers. Ace, I'm going to agree and disagree with you at the same time. They don't actually have enough players right now. That's what I'm worried about. They don't even have a second line. They don't even have top six forwards 5 and 6. Now we got to see how it gets rounded out here over the next few days. But that's my bigger concern. Somebody asked, what do I think of the Bouchard contract? I'm not surprised it's that amount. Offensive players get paid a lot of money. I recognize the deficiencies in his game. I also think he does do a lot of pretty good things. Hopefully he improves a little bit in some of the areas he's not great in. I would say I don't mind that it's 4 years. I don't mind that it's 4 years. I mean, then if he's incredible, then he can make more money in 4 years. If he doesn't blossom or the team doesn't, do as well as they would like with him, then maybe the Oilers have another option in 4 years from now, which in hockey can be an eternity. All right. We're near the end of the show, Coop. Thanks to everybody for posting in the Nasty Chat today. Always good to chat with you. I hope everybody has a great Canada Day planned tomorrow. Come join us at 10 a.m. We'll probably bring you the Bouchard media availability, and then just talk about what's going on, see what else is going on around the league. I feel like it's not going to be a very explosive day tomorrow.
Well, with all the news that broke today in the last 3 or 4 hours.
Marner going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Marchand. I mean, I guess see where Besser goes, some other guys. And there could be trades. I mean, from an Oilers perspective, I wonder if maybe there's going to be trade news as much as anything else to talk about. But we'll see. All right, let's do a double word of the day, my young friend.
Let's do it. The word of the day with Reid and Jay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
What do they got to say?
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you.
Let's find out.
English, do you speak it? Then you know what I'm saying.
Well, whoever voiced that intro has a beautiful voice. I bet they look.
He's at the food court at West Edmonton Mall.
Yeah, he definitely is. I got a couple interesting words for you here. I just had to make sure how to say that. Got my earbuds in. Okay. The first word I have for you, petricor.
What? Say it again.
Petricor. Petricor.
Okay. Petricor.
Ooh, Reid.
I failed.
Yeah.
I always fail.
Yeah.
Is it PIT?
It is PETRICH.
Oh my God.
There's an H in there.
Okay, give it to me in a sentence. I'll never be able to figure out the definition on my own.
Other than the petricor, what? Can I even read? Can I read properly?
Deep breath. We're good.
Other than the petricor emanating from the rapid drying grass, there was not a trace of evidence that it had rained at all.
Is it like a mist? Is it like a low mist?
You're in the right direction.
Okay.
Directionally correct. Very close, actually.
Yeah, we'll tell you what it is.
Okay. The pleasant smell that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm or dry weather.
0 points for that one. Okay, we got to do the other one quick.
Alrighty. The next word is bacchanal. Bacchanal.
BACCANAL.
So close, Reid, but that is incorrect. It is BACCHANAL.
Oh, wow. I missed these H's.
The H's. Yes.
I have no idea what this means. You'll have to give me a sentence. These are tough.
The event that
You're harder on me than Jay is. He's pretty hard on me.
I know. I'm sorry. I like finding some of these crazy words. None of the ones that you'd really use very often. But the event has morphed. The event has morphed into one of those most shamelessly drunken bacchanals on the social calendar. The event has morphed into one of those most shamingly drunk bacchanals on the social calendar.
I'm going to say it's a party full of debauchery.
Well, that's it's basically it.
Close enough.
An occasion of wild and drunken revelry.
Revelry.
Wow.
Oh, that was amazing.
I don't know any words.
Okay, so Bouchard is indeed signed 4 years, $10.5 million per season. Earlier today, new one-year deals for Noah Philp and Kapanen. We had Philp on the show earlier. We had a lot of great sort of Canada-centric content to lead you into Canada Day tomorrow. 10 a.m. we're on with a free agent special. Awanak will be here. I'll be here. Other people will be on the show. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll keep you updated. On behalf of Zachary Kubish, I'm Reid Wilkins. Thanks for checking out the show.